Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage will sell your house for top dollar with no cleaning, staging, showings, or open houses, and give you up to 90 days to close. So there's plenty of time to find your next home. Guaranteed Nashville means my team lives here and loves it here. We've served Nashville for over 20 years, and we're passionate about helping the people we call neighbors and friends, which is why we've had a long-standing tradition of donating to the Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. If you're thinking about a guaranteed offer, get the only one that's guaranteed Nashville. Request a no-obligation offer by calling 615-301-1650 or go to GaryAshton.com today. Remember, Gary Ashton, guaranteed Nashville.
You may be into punk rock, soft rock, or classic rock, R&B, hip-hop, or house, country, techno, or techno-country. But no matter what kind of music you listen to, here's something else you should hear. Please consider getting vaccinated. Talk to your pharmacist today about Comirnaty, COVID-19 vaccine mRNA. This message brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Caroline Fenton is here today. Hello, Caroline.
Hello, how we doing?
Outstanding. Ian Safar is here today. Hello, Ian.
What up, what up?
So I want to start on this. Titans back finally on the practice field. Julio Jones is back on the practice field. Boy, David Long Jr.'s hamstring must be really bad because he is not on the practice field. But there is a list of guys that were out there today for the Titans at practice. And, again, I don't want to make it all about injuries and excuses because this is the NFL and nobody feels bad for you. But apparently Julio Jones was out at practice today. Here are the guys that weren't there. Rashaan Evans was out at practice today. Tier Tart, Jackrabbit Jenkins, David Long Jr., Tommy Hudson, and Elijah Molden were not there, according to TD. At the open portion of practice, Titans get set to take on the Jags. While I don't want to spend any time talking about the Jags this week, I'm sure we will over the next 2 days after today because, well, the truth is we can't take the Titans seriously when it comes to beating teams they should beat. Everything's going to be just tooth and nail, so we might as well get used to that. But I want to start on this today. Who saw the Ryan Tannehill press conference? And I don't mean who listened to the Ryan Tannehill press conference, but I'm saying who saw the Ryan Tannehill press conference today. Did you see the Ryan Tannehill press conference today?
I did. I watched it a couple times, actually.
I told you this. I need you to watch it, not listen to it. I need you to watch it. You know what's funny is years and years and years ago, there was a presidential debate between John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon. And this was right when TV was starting to really become a thing across most American households. And they said, and by the way, JFK, good-looking dude. And they said if you watched it on television, you thought JFK won the debate. If you listened to it on radio, which Americans had been using for a couple generations at this point, if you listened to the presidential debate on radio, you thought Richard Nixon won the debate. There's a big difference. And there's a big difference between seeing a press conference, hearing a press conference, and reading what a writer puts in an article from a press conference. It's hard being a coach. It's hard being a quarterback. It's hard being a public figure because something that you say and the tone that you say it in a press conference may be totally different when it gets put into an article about something or another. But I've realized with Ryan Tannehill, and I don't know if you've had this with people in your life, but I know I have. Sometimes the body language tells you more than anything else. The answers are what they are. With Tannehill, it's almost always coach speak. And maybe I am going off the deep end today, which is what this is why I told you to watch the press conference, so I'm not the only person here doing this. I sensed a lot of frustration in Ryan Tannehill's body language. And every time when he'd answer a question about something that he probably didn't like, his eyes would kind of open up or dart. Almost like one time, John Glennon asked a question about turnovers. And we'll play you Tannehill's answer. But the way he answered it, I'll get to in a second, I thought told me how he really feels. This is what happened today.
Do you think you're taking any more chances than you had in the past, or does that maybe contribute to some of the turnovers, or what are your thoughts?
Like I mentioned before, everyone has a story, but at the end of the day, we all have to be on the same page, and I have to be accurate with football and make good decisions. So that's my charge going forward, and I look forward to it.
Okay, if somebody puts out on Twitter just Ryan Tannehill on taking chances, I have to be accurate with the football and make better decisions, you'd say, yeah, makes sense there. But when you watch the press conference, which I watched today, Tannehill's eyes, as he said, everybody's got their story, kind of rolled. Like, oh, God. And I can almost feel from watching Tannehill's press conference, not from listening to it, I can feel he's frustrated. And this is just my interpretation of it. Again, I'm not trying to sound like Skip Bayless today. I'm sure some people will think that I am there's Jared. Tannehill doesn't say anything for them to go off of. So now he's going to just telling you what I think. I've been in many Ryan Tannehill press conferences. I've watched hundreds of Ryan Tannehill press conferences. I remember when Ryan Tannehill got the job, and I was at that press conference, and I thought that dude that day at the podium was cool, calm, and collected. Today, I thought Ryan Tannehill was exhausted. I thought he was frustrated. And honestly, I think he's kind of tired of the media. And you heard right there at the beginning of that answer about the turnovers, he said, well, everybody's got their story, which is, you're going to have your story. I've got my story. Bob's got his story. Joe Rexroad's got his cockamamie story. But it was the body language I saw from Tannehill more than it was the answers. And then he started to get there with the answers. So he was asked, again, by Glennon, who apparently came to the press conference armed and ready with great questions. John Glennon asked him about the red zone. And, again, using Tannehill's body language and the use of the word trust, I think Tannehill's not very happy with his wide receivers. Take a listen.
A good red zone target like you've had with AJ over the years and with Jonnu last year as well.
I think the red zone comes down to timing and trust and getting yourself open. Those three things. Spaces are tighter, the windows are tighter, and so the trust has to really be there from the quarterback. The ability to get open quickly is got to be there from the receiver or pass catcher. And when you put those things together, you can have a beautiful thing.
One of the things that maybe if you're playing with receivers, not as much time with them as a guy like an AJ or John, that's maybe one of the things that could get affected is red zone with timing and so forth.
I mean, it could be, no doubt, but I do have reps with a bunch of these guys, and I have a lot of trust because I've seen them do it. Maybe I haven't had it lately, or they haven't been in the starting lineup for very long, but I've built up some of those reps over time and seen them make those plays, not only with myself but with other guys in practice. So that definitely elevates the trust.
He basically told you he doesn't have trust in these wide receivers. And then, I've had some reps with him in practice, and so certainly elevates the trust. The body language I got from that when I saw Tannehill was like eye rolling and just, yeah, I mean, got a lot of trust with my guys. They go out there. It's like his eyes are looking at John Glennon or looking at the media just like, I mean, what kind of BS can I make up just to answer this question because I don't want to be here anymore? And we talk about the frustration with Tannehill. And I think the question has to be asked, why is Tannehill frustrated? But before we get to that, I want to ask you this because I wanted you to watch this press conference. And I wanted basically, because you asked me before the show, you said, what did you think of it? And I said, I'll tell you at 2 o'clock. Because I didn't want to tell you ahead of time. You watched the Tannehill press conference. Did you pick up on the same body language from him that I think I got?
Admittedly, when you told me you wanted to talk about, about watch the press conference. Don't just listen to it. I thought, God, Jared he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. He's going crazy again. It's Wednesday after a bye week, and he's just digging for something to talk about. I watched it once. Nothing really stuck out to me. I watched it again, and then I watched it a third time. And in that second time through, I noticed the exact same thing that you did, and that was his eye contact. When he was talking about, Joe Rexrode asked him a question about like his level of trust or success with Julio. His eyes instantly went to the other side of the room. His eyes went down. I believe it was Kayla Anderson who asked a similar question about pass catchers. His eyes went down. His eyes went to the side. As soon as he locked eyes with Kayla again, his eyes would dart. And he was asked about Dontrell Hilliard and Deontay Foreman. And Ryan Tannehill's eyes stayed locked, and I forgot who asked the question, but his eyes stayed locked on the person who asked the question because he was talking about the Patriots game, because he was talking about something that was tangible, that happened, and something that he knew that he could reference. So when he was talking about Julio or the trust with the pass catchers or the trust with the wide receivers, when he was asking about more philosophical questions, you could tell he was uncomfortable because his eyes went all over the place. When he was able to reflect on something that had actually happened and something that was good, Deontay Foreman and Dontrell Hilliard both putting up big numbers against the Patriots, he locked eyes. And I noticed that the second time around.
Do you know what I think about the most, though, when I see the frustration? Like, it's like a tired look on his face, right? And it's like an eye rolling, and it's like it's kind of like a Vrabel press conference. And we know Vrabel doesn't tell the truth when it comes to press conferences. Like, we know that. He admitted it in the Brady documentary. But it's like when you ask Tannehill a question about, like, the turnovers, and it's almost like he looks, it's like, okay, I got to come up with some BS to answer this question. It's like he's tired of having to sugarcoat it or tired of having to analyze, okay, what can I say right here about something that won't make any headlines, that won't get people all worked up, that won't make my teammates feel like I'm throwing them under the bus, that won't, and that's a hard job. Like Ryan Tannehill, you think if you grow up and you say, what do you want to be as a kid, Johnny? I want to be quarterback of my team. They think of throwing the touchdown passes and training in the weight room and practice, and they don't think, I got 23 people in front of me today, and I got to make up some bull crap because anything that I say will be completely dissected by everybody, especially Jared Stillman, and I have got to figure out a way to make sure that I don't do anything that leads into a 2 o'clock just rant about something that I said or did. And now here we are ranting about what he didn't say, but what we think he meant. And I understand the idea that the people that didn't watch this press conference, you may think that I am grasping for straws today, but I think Tannehill is truly frustrated right now. And I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, well, of course Tannehill's frustrated. He's had a really rough season. His guys are hurt. They've got a big task ahead to try to make the playoffs and try the pressures on. But that's not why I think Tannehill's frustrated when it comes to this. I think he's frustrated because I don't think he thinks he's the problem. Again, if you can give me that first Glennon clip about the turnovers, listen to the first part. That half-handed, everybody's got their story. Play the clip, please.
Do you think you're taking any more chances than you had in the past, or does that maybe contribute to some of the turnovers, or what are your thoughts?
Like I mentioned before, everyone has a story, but at the end of the day, we all have to be on the same page, and I have to be accurate with the football and make good decisions. So that's my charge going forward, and I look forward to it.
Everybody has a story, which I say is, I've got a story. I got a story, John. Now, let me tell you about this story. You put yourself in my position. I call E93 Queen Shoot Z-Swag double wide swig, and Des Fitzpatrick runs the wrong route. And then in the Colts game, I call X3 Queen 5 Eagle Shoot 90X double wide square. And Chester Rogers runs the wrong spot. I got my stories, John. That's the way I interpret that. And the body language was like, oh, how many more questions? How many more questions?
See, I think I interpreted that as, anyone can make an excuse, anyone can make up a story for the turnovers, but ultimately it's up to me.
I just looked at the eye roll of like, oh, I don't want to answer this question. And I felt like it was like that way for most of the entire press conference, especially when they were questions about like what needs to be better or what needs to. And I think that this is an example to me that I think the frustration to Tannehill is real.
And I think that if you go back and watch the Tannehill press conference, in the very beginning, they're asking him about his vacation. And he has a big smile on his face. He's like, his face is lit up. Of course he is. He just went on vacation. He was a great time with my family, whatever. As soon as he's asked that first question, you could tell that there was something in him flipped.
Like, it's easy in life. Herm Edwards once told me this one time. We talked about the difference between offense and defense. Why offenses don't get tired like a defense gets tired in the fourth quarter. And Herm Edwards said to me, he goes, it's like driving. When you know where you're going and you've got plenty of time to get there, it's a nice little leisurely drive. You're just in the car, you're relaxing, you're probably listening to your favorite sports talk radio show, Stillman and Company, and you're probably just enjoying. When you have got somewhere to be, and you don't know exactly where you're going, you kind of panic a little bit. Like, it's not a fun spot to be in. And I think with these press conferences, when you're asked questions about things that you want to talk about, I think it's fun to, like, sit there and talk about things that you really enjoy or things you want to talk about. When you are asked things that are uncomfortable or things that you're worried about saying the wrong thing or things that you don't want, then it's just frustrating because you think in your head, like, okay, how do I come up with something that doesn't rock any boats and that when I leave here off this podium today and don't talk to these guys until after the game on Sunday, I can just get back to what I have to do? See, Tannehill is too nice of a guy to be Belichick. Belichick, and Vrabel to a certain extent too, Belichick just doesn't care. So he'll get up there and he'll just be like, I guess we got to, throw the ball, catch it better. All right, bye. Like, that's how Bill is. It's like, oh, Bill's a jerk, and Tannehill doesn't want people to be like, Tannehill's a jerk. People don't want that. Like, so I understand. But when you're asked questions about things you don't want to talk about, it's not fun. And you can either go the route of doing the Belichick, where you don't say much, doing the Tannehill, where you try to keep it basic and generic and not really give anybody anything to write about or anything to talk about. Or you can do the Nick Saban and you can go off. But Tannehill doesn't have the skins on the wall that Nick Saban has to be able to do that. It's funny when you go on a rant, when you're the head coach at Alabama, you got 7 national championships, and you start talking about rat poison from the media. It's another thing when you're the crazy guy at Oklahoma State. Like, there's a difference between the two. So, again, I don't want to get into this Ryan Tannehill QAnon conspiracy theory press conference, whatever. I'm not trying to do that today. I'm just saying when I saw the Tannehill press conference and I saw his demeanor, his body language, his reaction, I'm like, something's not right. Something was not right. What do we think about it? 615-737-1025 is the phone number. 615-737-1025. And do we think Ryan Tannehill has a right to be frustrated right now? What do we think of it? 615-737-1025. And if my former boss wrote something about me, what they wrote about Tannehill, I'd probably be a little frustrated too, so we'll get to that coming up. 615-737-1025. Boy, we are rocking and rolling today on Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving. I did watch the latest Man in the Arena, the Tom Brady docuseries that releases every Tuesday. Oh, man, is it good. Oh, man. ESPN Plus. And I've got some thoughts on that we'll get into later today as well. 615-737-1025, Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 102 The Game.
The 8-4 Titans have returned from the bye week.
A lot of moving parts to get guys back into the building coming off the bye, and then we'll see how, hopefully, guys are moving around with some energy at practice.
A crucial stretch run begins Sunday against the Jags.
Carlos Hyde driving it in for the touchdown.
Your home for the best Titans coverage is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Attention Nice List recipients. The Mercedes-Benz winter event is here. Make this season your reason. Forget the halls, deck the garage. Hark, the turbo engines sing. Like hot cocoa in a blizzard, this opportunity won't last long. Hurry for these exclusive offers from Nashville's two-time Best of the Best award-winning Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Just one exit from the airport. Go to mbofmc.com.
Middle Tennessee, you can count on an award-winning service team for all your home maintenance and improvement needs. Lee Company, we're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by thousands of homeowners in our community. Our team is ready to assist with all your home maintenance projects, heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, appliance service, and more. Experience the convenience of calling one phone number for all your home maintenance needs. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
This holiday season at Genesis Diamonds, a spectacular selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches.
Hi, I'm Charlie Rivers, and I have been a Rolex expert for a very long time.
Nashville's Charlie Rivers invites you to see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces in Tennessee.
I have never seen so many luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in one spot.
Genesis has Sea Dwellers, Datejusts, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, Batmans, Air Kings, hand-selected premium timepieces in pristine condition. Watches you can't find anywhere else for men and women.
I'm so excited that I can finally give my customers what they want.
And at Genesis, there are no wait lists and no minimum spend requirements. Nothing stands in the way of you and your dream timepiece.
Come say hi, and I will help you find the perfect luxury pre-owned Rolex you've been dreaming of.
Come reward yourself or someone you love this Christmas with a luxury pre-owned Rolex. Genesis Diamonds in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Treating erectile dysfunction with acoustic wave therapy has been getting a lot of attention lately. But you should know that some are promising results we just haven't seen and charging a lot of money for the treatments as well. This is Kim for the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and if you're looking at acoustic wave therapy or any option to help your ED, you really should call us first. Unlike wave therapy only clinics, the Tennessee Men's Clinic wave therapy protocols do use acoustic wave technology, but we also often combine it with other treatments that can give most of our patients far higher satisfaction rates. There is no surgery nor any type of invasive procedure required. And even better, depending on your treatment strategy and with our urologist and provider's guidance, you can likely have sex the day after your appointment. We even have other treatments that can help you last up to an hour. Plus, for a limited time, we're waiving our normal appointment charge, which includes a PSA and T test, and offering a free ultrasound, altogether nearly a $400 value for free. So make an appointment today. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments, extra results vary.
Why is this oven still going? Hi, this is Dinesh.
Dinesh's Bakery just landed a sweet catering contract.
40 dozen fritters? Friday at 5 a.m.?
He needs an event planner to help him rise to the occasion.
Oh, every Friday at 5 a.m. Not a problem.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Enjoy packs?
Yeah. A little bit and excited to get going again.
There you go. Tannehill had a good time on his vacation. I hope he had a good time on his vacation.
I hope so too.
Now,
it looked beautiful.
Here's a question. What are you going to do about the football team that you're in charge of right now that can't move the football, has all these injured players, and you're the one who's kind of in charge of it? That's the question. We started today on Ryan Tannehill's frustration, what we viewed in terms of his body language in the press conference. Now, people are telling me that his everyone has their story is in reference to the interception, which is every interception has a story. Well, unfortunately, like with most things in life, every car accident probably has its own story too.
Jeez.
But generally speaking, there's a lot of things that usually lead to them. Somebody is texting and driving. Somebody falls asleep at the wheel. Somebody is drinking and driving. There are a lot of things that lead to car accidents. Each one's different. Oh, well, my head turned back because my kid in the back seat. But for the most part, that's a distracted driver. Interceptions are the same way. When you're throwing the same interception every game, sure. This one against the Chiefs had its own story because it was 97 who was coming at me, and I panicked and threw it over the middle. but I'm not sure that it's any different than, say, the one he threw last year in Baltimore, where he was getting blitzed. They didn't pick it up. He threw it over the middle right into the hands of Patrick Queen. That just happens. But so, anywho, I was wondering about the frustration with Tannehill. Would you say that Tannehill's frustrated?
I sensed that this morning, yes.
Ian, do you think Tannehill's frustrated? You've heard all the Tannehill press conferences over the years.
Probably a little bit, yeah. Probably. The first answer, I think I saw more of a eye roll kind of thing than I did the red zone ones.
What's Tannehill doing about it? And I mean this, and I don't mean this in a, get up on the soapbox and what are you doing about it to fix it, Ryan? I don't mean it like that. Because I doubt Ryan Tannehill is sitting at home eating a bag of Cheetos and thinking these things will work themselves out. But what is he doing about it? Chad O'Shea, and that's a name that a lot of people don't know, but Chad O'Shea, longtime wide receivers coach for the Patriots. He then later was offensive coordinator for Brian Flores' first season in Miami and then got fired because basically the Patriots offense was too hard for the Dolphins players to learn. And Chad O'Shea told a story one time of, you remember the Monday night meltdown that the Patriots had at Kansas City, where they got absolutely massacred on a Monday night in 2014?
Yes.
And after the game, that was where Belichick said we're on to Cincinnati, and that's where that all started was people kept asking questions, and he took Tom out, and he brought Garoppolo in, and, is this the end for Tom, and are they going to bench Tom, and whatever. And Chad O'Shea tells a story that, with the Patriots, and Floyd used to tell me this, you're playing on Sunday night, you're playing on Monday night, you're playing late games, 3:30s, you're getting in real late. The Titans are lucky enough to play at noon pretty much every week, and so they get home somewhere around 7 o'clock at night. It's pretty convenient. It's not when you're with the Patriots. So the coaches, because those Patriot coaches never stop working, the coaches will get in, especially after on a short week, like a Sunday night or Monday night game, they will get in and go right to work. So they land, they get on the bus takes them to the facility, they go right to the office. Chad O'Shea said after that game, Brady went in the office with him. So Brady went to work when the coaches started going to work. And on about Tuesday of that week, or late Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever it was, Brady pops out and says, I think I have a pretty good feel for this week. And Chad O'Shea said at that point he knew Cincinnati was done for. He was like, they got no shot this week. And I'm sure Tannehill's doing extra work. And I'm sure Tannehill, because I know enough of Tannehill to know that he's going to try to get these guys on the right track. But what is he doing? Has anybody asked that? Does Tannehill allude to that? Do the players talk about it? What? I do feel like the Titans do a pretty good job of not really telling you anything unless you ask it. And even when you do ask it, not necessarily telling you the truth. But what is Tannehill doing to fix the issues? Because right now, we can cry all we want about Des Fitzpatrick and about the fact that A.J. Brown's not out there and Derrick Henry's not out there and Julio Jones isn't out there and they didn't find him a tight end and the offensive line's not as good as it has been, though I'm not totally convinced of that, and whatever. We can make it. He still cost you the Texan game. He still cost you the Texan game by throwing 4 interceptions. So what are they doing about that? Now, I know what Vrabel's doing about it. At least I did for the Patriot game because he took the ball out of Tannehill's hands, which was the right call. But what are they going to do for the Jacksonville game? What is kind of the next step here?
I think you have to look at it what does Tannehill think the reason is? And he said every interception has a story. So what is the story behind them? Is it Des Fitzpatrick running the wrong route? Okay, well then is Des Fitzpatrick running routes at practice? Is it Ryan Tannehill doesn't trust the line? Ryan Tannehill doesn't trust his receivers. Then what is Tannehill doing to grow that trust with the line and with his receivers? If it's Todd Downing just doesn't really have as good of a grasp on what makes Tannehill click, then is Tannehill meeting with Todd Downing? And is he talking with Todd Downing? This is where I feel comfortable. I like this. I don't like this. But I guess I'll offer you the question of what do you think Tannehill can do?
So here's the thing about playing quarterback in the NFL. And it's a lot like everybody else's job. Just like my job, just like I'm trying to think of an average job. there are levels to this of what goes on behind the scenes and what you put out there for your product, and nobody cares about what goes on behind the scenes.
It's true.
So if Tannehill, and here's the thing with Downing and all this other stuff, we want to blame the offensive coordinator. That's fine, but the offensive coordinator doesn't have a $37 million cap hit next season. The OC doesn't. The quarterback does. Everybody's going to point. They're not going to boo the OC at the stadium. They're going to boo the quarterback. They're going to look at the quarterback, and they're going to say, this is on you. Sometimes I think a lot of things have been on Tannehill over the years that aren't on him, but people put it on him.
But how many times have we heard callers, texters, Titans fans call for Todd Downing's job?
Not as much as I would have. Like, we did early in the season, but then they went through that stretch where they were scoring and Derek was running, and I think everybody kind of cooled off on that. I think my bigger thing here, too, is with the what to fix it. Coaches are bound by a collective bargaining agreement that tells them how many hours they can work players. Tannehill is not. So if Tannehill goes and he tells everybody, and he tells the receivers, hey, we're going out there at 7 o'clock tonight, then they're going out there at 7 o'clock at night. Todd Downing can't do that. Mike Vrabel can't do that. And look, those guys, if Tannehill doesn't play better, all those guys might end up getting fired. But I'm not accusing Tannehill of not doing enough. Like, I'm sure because it's me, and I'm sure because it's my tone, like, I'm sure people will say that I'm accusing Tannehill of something that I'm not. I'm just asking a question. I mean, this goes back to the David Beauclair clip that we played last week where David Beauclair wondered aloud whether or not Tannehill's gotten too comfortable with his own life. And I told you I didn't think that Tannehill had gotten too comfortable with his own life. But, I mean, he's going out to Turks and Caicos. He's going out with the families. You can put that out there if you want. I don't know. Like, what are you doing to make this better? And I don't know the answer to this. And they're not going to tell you. And so it's kind of one of these things we got to figure out. But I was a little surprised by it. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. We'll get to your phones on this coming up next. Plus, where Mike Tannenbaum ranked Tannehill. Mike Tannenbaum is just a Tannehill apologist. And where he ranked Tannehill might scare you. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company. TSPN 102.5 The Game. And, of course, as always, we're streaming on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. And we're streaming on the Game Nashville app.
Titans, Jags.
Tannehill lets it rip downfield, one-on-one. Caught over the shoulder.
Titans on three, 1, 2, 3. Ryan Tannehill and company are in need of a return to the win column. Tune in Sunday at 9:30 for NFL pregame with Jared Stillman, Chris Sanders, and Mark Howard. We are Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe. Get your payout before the game's out with BetMGM. Place a moneyline wager on any Thursday night football game, and if your team is up by 10 or more points at the half, you are a winner. That's a full payout for only half the game, no matter what happens the rest of the way. Simply go to your BetMGM account and opt in each week to the Thursday night halftime payout promotion. Want to continue wagering in the third quarter? Keep it rolling with BetMGM's extensive live betting options. Need to hit the sack early? Use your winnings to place a one-game parlay on Sunday and go for gridiron glory. If you're new to BetMGM, download the app today and see how you can turn halftime into cash time. Make a moneyline bet on Thursday night, and if your team is up by 10 or more, you'll win at the half. Only at BetMGM. Opt-in required. You must be 21 years of age or older, must be in Tennessee. Visit BetMGM.com for a full list of terms and conditions. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789.
Christmas shopping is in full swing at Electronic Express. Save big on the hottest gifts with up to 50% off in every department. 4K TVs, computers and gaming, smart home, housewares, and more. That's not all. Get up to 50% off all your appliance needs in stock and ready to deliver. Plus, buy now, pay later with up to 36 months free financing. Get your Christmas shopping done now at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Here we are again, Finn, stocking up for the big day at Porvu. That's right, Jolly. 10,000 square feet of wine spirits and over 1,500 domestic import and craft beers with a massive array of canned cocktails. Porvu has an amazing selection. Porvu makes it easy to stock the sleigh with everything we'll need for our holiday parties and even last-minute gift ideas. But will it all fit in the sleigh? Not to worry, Finn. I placed our order on the online Porvu app, and I've arranged for curbside pickup at no charge. They even offer home delivery for the rest. What you getting for Trixie? Hard to find small batch, special selections, tequila? Yes, Trixie loves that tequila, just like Blitzen. That's how he got his name, huh? Ooh, party supplies. Everything for our elf soiree, and Porvu always gives us 10% off wine by the case. What are we getting the big guy? Well, after a long night of flying around the world, he likes to kick back with a good stogie. Porvu has a walk-in humidor full of fine cigars. Look, a tasting bar.
Porvu, Indian Lake Boulevard in Hendersonville.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, rental works, yeah! The big dog's got it.
Craneworks, the Southeast leader for crane and equipment rental, is looking for the best in the business to fill positions as qualified operators, truck drivers, and mechanics. Craneworks provides superior customer service and a superior work environment. Start lifting Nashville to new heights and apply today at craneworks.com/careers. That's craneworks.com/careers.
At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, their physicians are specialty trained orthopedists that treat injuries and disorders of the upper extremities. Not all painful conditions require surgery. Therefore, their physicians look for non-surgical solutions first. Depending on your condition, you can be treated with a brace, splint, anti-inflammatory medications, rehabilitation, or if necessary, surgery. To experience world-class orthopedic care, visit tn.houston.com, where experience matters.
ESPN's Turon Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Presented by FreedomTireGuys.com, Nashville's premier mobile tire company, and Craneworks and Rental Works, your source for crane and equipment rental. Visit Craneworks.com. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Rick Stockstill, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Didn't finish, the way you wanted to with 2 straight losses, but you like the position you're in and kind of moving forward and you kind of feel that energy in the locker room?
Yeah, no, obviously didn't play our best football, leading up to the bye. But as we look back, we've put ourselves in a position where everything we wanted is still in front of us. So it's just a matter of going out, executing, playing good football as we finish down the stretch.
God, I love Jim Wyatt, but man, that question. No, you lost, but you like where you're at? I mean, tough spot.
That's a tough question to answer.
I guess, it's
we've lost our past 2 games, but you know what? I'm really happy with the direction we're going in.
So Mike Tannenbaum is a Ryan Tannehill apologist. Fair to say, Ian?
Sure.
I mean, the track record is he was his general manager in Miami. He didn't draft Tannehill, but I do believe he extended Tannehill, and he got fired because Adam Gase and Tannehill didn't ultimately work out for the Dolphins. And Tannenbaum goes right to the general manager seat at ESPN that once was occupied by our general manager, and immediately gets there and starts talking about how Tannehill's better than Mariota. And Tannenbaum has a mixed track record in the NFL, mostly bad, and was never somebody that Floyd took very seriously. But he is their general manager, and he is a Tannehill apologist. So he's got his current quarterback rankings he does each week. Which, by the way, Ian, can you imagine how much Floyd would hate doing this?
Ooh, he would hate it.
Oh, he'd be kicking and screaming. I didn't watch that game, so how am I supposed to rank
That might be one of the ghostwritten articles from a Sun.
Oh, that would be Sean Reese who's ranking them, if that were the case. I'm sure Floyd wouldn't like that either, putting his name on, games he didn't watch or whatever. But then again, who knows. Tannenbaum, here's his quarterback ranking. Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, Matthew Stafford, Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson, Derek Carr, Mac Jones, Kirk Cousins,
Woof.
Tua Tagovailoa, Carson Wentz, and Ryan Tannehill. So a Tannehill apologist has Tannehill 17th behind Carson Wentz, Tua Tagovailoa, and Kirk Cousins.
And just ahead of Matt Ryan.
And Taylor Heineke, and Jalen Hurts, and Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, I read this today. I looked at the list, and from what I know about Tannenbaum and what I feel like Tannenbaum feels about Tannehill, I felt like I read this and I thought, ooh, boy,
That's when you know.
That's bad. That's bad. That's like if you're a chicken restaurant. I love chicken. That's like if you're a chicken restaurant and you're like, Jared Stillman doesn't think you're a very good chicken restaurant, then you must just be terrible. Because I love chicken.
Who doesn't?
No, but I love chicken. So there's that. Let's go to your phone. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Andrew texts into the text line and says, why is Ryan frustrated? He came in the season expecting to throw to A.J. Julio in a stable full of bad boys. Now he's throwing to Fitzpatrick and Mason Kinsey. Too bad he can't say, I'm out here by myself with a bunch of bums.
I don't think he's thrown a single pass to Mason Kinsey this year. I don't think Mason Kinsey has been on the active roster for a single game this year, though I could be wrong. I mean, well, yes, but it's like, I see Titan fans saying this stuff on Twitter, and I see the words, and I hear them, like when you read out the text line and callers that are like, now, Jared, if we were fully healthy then, and I'm like, you do realize in the month of December, most NFL teams don't get more healthy. They usually get less healthy as the month of December goes. In 2018, the Titans were trying for a playoff spot, and Derrick Henry came alive, and they had to win 5 in a row in order to get to the playoffs. They won 4 and then lost to the Colts. But they lost their starting quarterback to an injury along the way. They lost their best corner at the time, Logan Ryan, to an injury along the way. They lost their defensive leader, Jarrell Casey, to an injury along the way. You usually don't get more healthy. You usually get less healthy. And this is the reality of playing quarterback in the NFL. Who's Tua throwing the football to right now?
Who is he throwing Devontae Parker? Is he still in Miami?
He's hurt.
Waddle.
So I don't know. Waddle, yeah.
So he's got Gesicki and Waddle. Who's Carson Wentz throwing the football to?
Pittman.
And?
Passing the ball off to Jonathan Taylor.
He's throwing the ball to Zach Pascal. And, I mean, just random dudes. Zach Pascal used to be on the Titans practice squad, and then I think he was on the active roster, and then he got popped for PEDs. Like, he's a guy. These guys.
But I would say that Zach Pascal is more of a guy than Des Fitzpatrick.
T.Y.'s getting some run again.
Yeah.
I mean, these are just guys, though. Like, T.Y.'s an old P-Pop. He's not
But they're
good
also
anymore.
his guys.
Okay.
The guys that he has been with since the beginning.
And Chester Rogers and Nick Westbrook-Akina aren't Tannehills?
But they haven't been on the active roster, and they haven't been that
Those
first-string
guys have been
go-to
on
wide
the active
receiver.
roster the whole time. This is the thing in the NFL. Like, everybody has injuries that they have to deal with. I get it. Brady's got better receivers. I get it. But Aaron Rodgers went to Arizona without his receivers, and he beat the Cardinals. And I get it. Tannehill's not Aaron Rodgers.
And we've never asked him to be Aaron Rodgers.
But we're asking him to not throw the ball to the other team. And I think the other thing, too, is not to make excuses. Vrabel doesn't make them. That's where we are here. So if you want to say, hey, these other guys aren't any good, this is my whole premise with Tannehill. If it's all about the other guys around Tannehill, then I don't need a $36 million cap charge next year. Then I can go sign me Case Keenum or Tyrod Taylor or who are some of these other backup bums that are kind of starters, but they're not. You know, Case Keenum got to an NFC Championship game with the Minnesota Vikings. He took them with a great defense. He took them to the NFC title game. And the next year, everybody said, well, he's a backup. We need a starter. And they gave Kirk Cousins a fully guaranteed contract. And when they gave Kirk Cousins that fully guaranteed contract, all of a sudden that was supposed to lead him to the promised land, and they've gotten worse every season, and they just lost to the worst team in the NFL. So if I need all my guys, because Derrick Henry loses offensive linemen every single week, it feels like, over the last 2 years, and he just runs. He'd be a 3-time rushing champion if he didn't break his foot.
And I think that's what we learned this year with Tannehill is going into this season, we thought that Tannehill was a top 10 quarterback in the league. And I will admit that I thought that too. We learned this year that Tannehill is not the kind of guy that will elevate the people around him, but he is elevated by the players he has around them, and he won't be the reason why you lose every week, but he won't be necessarily the reason why you win.
So basically, he's in the ballpark with Kirk Cousins, Tua Tagovailoa, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, Taylor Heineke, and Jalen Hurts.
Do you agree?
Unfortunately, yes.
I think I do too.
Because I took the cheese on him over Tom Brady. And I'm not the only one, but you know what? I'm going to sit here and say, I'll put my hand up and say, the Titans should have picked Brady. And I said it after the Super Bowl, and I said it after the Ravens playoff loss. And Joe Rexrode and Gentry Estes, and oh my God, the revisionist history about, no, the Titans made the right call. No, they didn't. Look at the results. At least I can admit I was wrong. That's where we are.
I do think Tannehill's better than Kirk Cousins.
Maybe. Chris Sanders joins us next here on the program. I hope you're right. Chris Sanders joins us. What's he think about Julio Jones returning to action off of the IR, or at least scheduled to come up off the IR? Plus, can Golden Tate make a difference now that he's got a little bit of time under his belt? And the Tannehill frustration, what does Chris make of it? We'll do that next. Stillman and Company at ESPN. What did you about the game?
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Temperatures are going to be in the 40s for most of the morning here, working our way into the 50s this afternoon, which is seasonal under mostly sunny skies, and then warmer the rest of the week.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Your home value is way up. Why not use it to make your home even nicer with a new kitchen or bathroom? Hey, Willie here. So many of our listeners are doing this with Loan Pronto, thanks to their zero-cost cash-out refi program. Call Loan Pronto now. They're fast-tracking home refis for the year-end, and people are getting checks for $60, $70, $100 grand or more. It's fast and easy. It's your money, money you can use to add even more value to your home. Imagine 2022 with that all-new luxurious kitchen you've been dreaming about, or start building that pool so it's going to be ready for the summer. Call Loan Pronto now. See how easy it is to use the equity in your home and walk away with the big check. They can even pay your closing costs, and you can skip your next 2 house payments. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
Do great prices and selection on trucks and SUVs still exist? They do in Truckville. Sarah Chevrolet Buick GMC of Nashville has the largest selection in Tennessee. And we keep getting fresh stock on our lots every day. We're committed to offering you our best price and a 5-star experience, which is why we're still known as the destination for trucks and SUVs. Come visit Truckville, Tennessee today in person or online at sarahnashville.com.
With just one spray of Microban 24, your hard surfaces are sanitized for up to 24 hours. Touch after touch after touch.
So 6 hours from now?
Still sanitized.
12 hours?
Yep.
18 hours.
We're really doing this.
24 hours.
When used as directed, one spray of Microban keeps killing 99.9% of bacteria touch after touch for, up to 24 hours.
Wow.
Microban 24. The sanitizer 4 out of 5 doctors would use in their own homes. So why aren't you?
Robbie Stanley.
Maybe it doesn't hurt their bottom line this year. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen on that front.
Joe Rexrode.
5 guys who are on the roster are not going to be on the roster.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10. Presented by Volunteer State Bank on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is on. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Stillman and Company, ESPN 1025 The Game. Do you want a pair of tickets to see the Predators and the Calgary Flames at Bridgestone Arena on Tuesday, December 14th? Head over to YouTube and subscribe to our 1025 The Game YouTube page for your chance to see the Preds and Flames live. Once you subscribe, email us at promotions@cromwellmedia.com with your YouTube handle. One winner will be chosen on Monday, December 13th. The Titans back on the practice field after the bye. So is Julio Jones. And if you follow the local media, They have all these videos of Julio Jones catching balls in individual period where just the quarterback throws the ball, chopping his feet up and down, running around. Who knows what that actually means? Will Julio play Sunday? Who knows? Chris Sanders joins us now, former Titans receiver. Chris, what do we think about Julio's return following the IR stint, following the bye week, and his ability to help this football team right now and stay healthy down the stretch?
I mean, it sounds good, but, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but just kind of watching the film and watching it on TD's, I think it's on Instagram, he's not ready. And the reason why I'm saying he's not ready is because watch when he's doing his drills, watch when he comes out of it, because he's dragging his leg, and that's a sign that my hamstring's not healthy. And just watching how high the hamstring where it's hurt at, the wrap on his leg is up high, so that's telling you that he has a high, hamstring pull. So, even though it's exciting that he might come back and he might play this week, but just watching him do drills, man, in my mind, I just don't think he's ready.
Would you sit him out, or do you think this is something that's just really not going to get better and he's got to play through until he gets hurt again?
I would just sit him out, because you go out there and he tries to run a post route and he completely tears it, and now he's done for the whole season. At least just let him sit for maybe 1 or 2 more games, and hopefully that he can come back, because what we're dealing with a hamstring that's not just in the lower part of your hamstring, it's at the high part. So if you try to extend and you try to accelerate, you just really can. And just watching him in drills, Jared, I mean, there's just no explosiveness. There's just no getting in and out of his breaks. It's kind of a hesitation. So I would rest him and let him come back completely healthy, because you just don't want a guy to go out there because because he's a name, great player, Hall of Famer. But right now you can't play with a hurt hamstring.
Chris, what do you make of Tannehill today? We were talking about his body language at the press conference. It felt like when he was asked about interceptions and when he was asked about things of that magnitude, like kind of would take a second, kind of roll his eyes a little bit, break eye contact. It didn't seem like the confident, excited Tannehill that, again, it's all coach talk with him anyways, but the body language just felt like he's frustrated right now. What do you make of maybe some frustrations that he's got with the team?
You just hit it right on the head. He's frustrated. He's not just frustrated in the team. He's frustrated in himself. I mean, when you're a quarterback and you have the desire to win, you have the desire to try to make plays, and you throw 4 interceptions, then you come back the next week and throw another one. You're not just going to be frustrated in the team. You're going to be frustrated in yourself as a player. So I just think that the one thing that he has to do is just, we talk about it all the time. I'm going to say some coach talk, but just get back to the basic. Get back to the basic of going to your first and your second read and get that big play and build that confidence. Because I can understand what you're saying, Jared. When you have bad body language, that's a sign to say, I don't have confidence. So if he just gets that big play and gets that confidence back, I think he's going to be okay.
Chris, how do you feel about the Titans right now? Number 2 seed in the AFC. They wouldn't get a bye with the new playoff format. Right. But it looks like the Patriots are just on fire and rocking and rolling, and everything's going right for them. The Titans, they're getting some guys back, but they still got a lot of guys hurt, and it kind of feels like they're trudging through the end of the year. What do you make of that, and how do the Titans get back on track?
I'm feeling okay, and the reason why I'm feeling okay right now because they're 8-4. But the only thing that I'm concerned is about this time of the year. This is where you want to start playing your best football. We look at the Patriots at the beginning; they were playing terrible, but now they're playing their best football. So I just think if the Tennessee Titans can get back to playing their type of football on offense, running the ball. I know we don't have Derrick Henry, but also on defense, we need to start getting more turnovers on defense. The last 2 games we had 0 turnovers. So if we can do that and play better on special teams and not miss field goals and extra points, then that's how you get back on track. But we can't get back on track by talking about it. We can't say, okay, well, guys, we just got to, get back to the basics. We got to go out there and do it. And this game this week scares me. And the reason why it scares me is because you have a 2-10 team with the Jags. They don't have anything to lose. They have some explosive guys on their roster. They got Trevor Lawrence. He wins with his legs. You got James Robinson, good running back, 678 yards. You got Marvin Jones. You got guys that can make some plays. So if the Tennessee Titans don't come out with confidence and come out with an attitude to run to somebody's lips, man, this could be a long day.
I got to tell you about this Jags game. I would agree with you that I can't trust the Titans. I mean, they could play Vanderbilt, and I wouldn't trust them right now. There's just something about them. Even with the injured guys, they should be able to beat a Jacksonville team. But at the same time, they didn't go out there and beat the Texans, and for years with Vrabel as the coach, they have not been able to take care of business in games where they should take care of business. Chris, this one feels like a big one to me. Like this one feels you got to kind of keep keep pace with everybody else because Kansas City's getting better. New England's good. Kansas City's getting better.
Yep.
And you got to keep pace with everybody else. You got to keep Baltimore at bay. You got to keep Kansas City at bay.
True.
And I don't know how to feel about the Titans right now. If they lose to Jacksonville, it will be an unmitigated disaster. But I'm not ruling it out either. This is a very weird game for me.
I mean, it is. I mean, look at last week. Whoever thought the Detroit Lions would beat the Vikings? I mean, it's the NFL. Any team can beat any team. So, with the Jags, these teams don't like each other. It goes back to 1999 when the Jags were 14-2 and we were 13-3, and the only 2 losses they had with us. So there's some bad blood between the Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. So here's the deal. The Titans got to come out fast. I know this is going to be some coach talk 101, but they got to come out and start fast. But if they go out there and, say Julio plays and he catches a 60-yard touchdown, then now you build confidence. But if you come out and get a 3-and-out and they score, you get another 3-and-out, you throw interceptions, then now you start to doubt yourself. Then now you see the body language. Now you see the frustration. Now you see the anger in Vrabel's face. But if you start out fast and make some plays, then now it builds confidence later on for now and then for later on in the season.
Former Titans receiver Chris Sanders is our guest. You were on the team when Floyd added Carl Pickens, an all-pro out of Cincinnati that everybody – I was in the 5th grade. I was a fan when that happened, and I thought Carl Pickens was the answer.
Oh, no.
And they added Julio Jones. Now, Julio, I think you would agree with me, Julio's resume compared to Carl Pickens' resume is different.
True.
But we had our concerns when they added Julio Jones to the mix. Do you think the Titans regret the risk they took on Julio, the draft pick, the money, and now what we're seeing with the injuries and the unavailability?
I'm not saying it's a regret. I think Carl Pickens was a little different, and I'm being respectful when I say this, but, man, he was a cancer in the locker room. I don't think that Julio Jones is a cancer in the locker room. I just think that they may be a little disappointed, but these are the question marks that we had against him. And we talked about this on the air all the time that we might get into with Julio Jones because we looked in Atlanta. He was consistently hurt. He had shoulders, he had ankles, he had thighs. He was consistently hurt. So we consistently were talking about, will he be on the field? I think we got our question answered that we might not even see him on the field, maybe sparingly.
I was watching yesterday the docuseries on ESPN Plus, Man in the Arena. It's Tom Brady's kind of Michael Jordan documentary. Mm-hmm. And Randy Moss was talking about going to the Patriots and everything else. And Randy said he didn't know if he still had it at the level that he had in Minnesota because he had gone to Oakland and a guy had caught him from behind and Randy was – and I heard that and I thought to myself – Randy told Tom, I don't know if I'm still that guy, but I'll give you everything I got.
Wow.
I wonder if this is the other side of it with Julio, which is I don't know if I'm that guy, but I'm giving it everything I've got, and this is everything Julio's got.
I mean, you made a great point. I mean, your mind is going to tell you, I can run a 4.3, but then when you get out there, you run 4.9. I mean, but that's just the competitive nature of a guy who wants to win. That's what I commend about Julio Jones. He wants to win. He wants to be out there. He wants to catch passes. He wants to make his team better, but your body's not allowing you to do that. And that's why I think that he's frustrated, and I believe that he's not just disappointed of being here, but he's disappointed that his body's not reacting to what his mind is thinking he can do.
Chris, a lot of negativity even at 8-4. We saw when Mike Mularkey was 8-4, there was a lot of negativity. He ended up getting fired. Do the players hear this? I mean, I know that everybody says they pretend like they don't read, they pretend like they don't listen, they pretend like they don't. Do you think the players and coaches in that building, do you think they feel the pressure?
Maybe a little bit. I mean, and the reason why I say that is because you alluded to it earlier in the show is the body language of Tannehill. I mean, that just shows you that they may be under a little pressure. But this is what you do as a great leader, like in Mike Vrabel and J-Rob. This is what you do as a great leader. You look at your guys at the meeting and say, guys, we're 8-4 and we control our destiny. I mean, that's what you do. You don't say, well, you better do better. Yeah, you got to do better. We know what you got to do at receiver. We know what you got to do at quarterback. We know what you got to do, on the defense. But we're sitting 8-4, and if you just play your game, we put ourselves in position to head to the Super Bowl. That's the kind of leadership that you need right there.
Chris Sanders, as always, a bolt, a sunshine ray of positivity. As always, Chris Sanders joining us on the program. Chris, we'll see you Sunday.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
Chris Sanders joining us, as always, on the program. So I want to continue on that right there about the pressure. and about if they're hearing it, what we think the Titans feel, how should the Titans feel. Because I did watch the Tom Brady docuseries yesterday, and if we are to believe that the Titans are trying to run a Patriots-like organization, I have an interesting thought about how we should feel. I'll explain next. Stillman and Company right here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. TriStar Moving. They are the presenting sponsors of Stillman and Company, and they are my official movers. I moved with TriStar Moving over a year ago, and it was a fantastic decision. That's why their motto is TriStar Movers with 5-star service. From the initial phone call to the final signature, moving was a breeze. They offer home protection, covering your floors, banisters, railings, door jambs, and even the doors themselves. They're always upping the game when it comes to mover training, and my move was absolutely fantastic. They have a brand new state-of-the-art storage facility in Mount Juliet as well. Their owners, Garrett and Robert, are true Nashvillians, and they hold a very high standard with their company, TriStar Moving. If you're looking to move, give my movers a call, 615-640-1219, or visit their website at nashvillemoving.org/radio, where they'll give you 5% off your entire move. That's TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, nashvillemoving.org/radio, where, again, you could tell them Jared Stillman sent you for 5% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
Take us wherever you may go.
There are two guys on my untouchable list.
Tune us in anywhere, anytime.
Every team's got those. That's my point.
Just search The Game Nashville in your app store and download today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
It's the 12 days of Christmas at Genesis Diamonds with the best gift ever. 5 years, 0 interest financing. That's right. For the first 12 days of December, you get the unbeatable Genesis value price, plus 0 interest financing for 5 years with nothing down. Shop early for Christmas and get that $5,000 pair of diamond stud earrings for just $84 a month. Or that $6,000 diamond eternity band, just $100 a month. Our showcases are stocked with the best holiday gifts. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, colored gemstone jewelry, unique handcrafted one-of-a-kind gifts that are sure to be the headliner gift at your house this Christmas. And now through December 12th, everything's affordable with 5 years, 0 interest financing. How about splurging on a $10,000 tennis bracelet and paying just $167 a month? Don't miss this special finance offer now through December 12th. Merry Christmas from Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit, see store for details.
Attention Nice List recipients, the Mercedes-Benz winter event is here. Make this season your reason. Forget the halls, deck the garage. Hark, the turbo engines sing. Like hot cocoa in a blizzard, this opportunity won't last long. Hurry for these exclusive offers from Nashville's 2-time Best of the Best award-winning Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Just one exit from the airport. Go to mbofmc.com.
Do you really want to go through another year with that awful joint pain? Well, don't do it. Resolve right now to get yourself moving again for 2022. Willie Donick here. It's time to call the folks at QC Kinetics. Non-surgical, regenerative treatments for joint pain. We're talking lasting results using natural biologics. No surgery, no pain meds, no steroids, and no downtime. This is really exciting stuff. Regenerative, restorative treatments that actually encourage your body to heal itself using highly concentrated natural biologics. Patients rave about it for hip pain relief, knee pain relief, shoulder and back pain relief. Don't let them give you the steroids. Don't let them tell you your surgery is the only option. Get a free second opinion at QC Kinetics and do it now. And imagine life in 2022 without pain. Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics.
It's the official Bud Light Preds watch party as the Nashville Predators take on the New York Rangers this Sunday. The puck drops at 6, but the party starts at 5:30 with all kinds of specials. See you at Headquarters Beercade, downtown Nashville on 2nd Avenue. Go Preds!
Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee ensures children and teens, especially those who need us most, are ready to read, ready for class, ready to graduate, ready for their career, and ready to serve the community. You can support local youth and their great futures by donating at bgcmt.org.
Whether you're vaccinated or not, it's important to know the symptoms of COVID and its variants. Fever is the leading sign of COVID and the flu. So make sure you use an accurate thermometer. Only the Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer has been proven accurate with more than 100 clinical studies. Non-contact thermometers have no clinical evidence behind them, and you cannot rely on them. Be vigilant and seek medical advice at the first sign of fever. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Man in the Arena on ESPN Plus. I feel like at this point I need a endorsement for ESPN Plus.
I feel like you also need an endorsement from Man in the Arena itself.
That too.
Yep.
Though I do have some issues with Man in the Arena, but that's neither here nor there. Man in the Arena is on ESPN Plus. If you were able to watch the Predators game last night on ESPN Plus, then you're able to watch Man in the Arena. It is the docu-series on Tom Brady's life. It is essentially the last dance of Tom Brady. Why they're releasing this in November, December, as opposed to like June?
Yeah, this sounds like the perfect like March kind of release or like post-draft release.
Oh, yes. But why they're not doing it, I don't know. But clearly they spent the money on something big like this because they want people to go get subscriptions to ESPN Plus. It is clear that subscriptions to ESPN Plus for them right now are more important to them than getting people to tune on the TV on ESPN. Because people would watch this. I mean, I think it's a really good docuseries on Tom Brady's kind of career. They take it one Super Bowl at a time. So they've had the first 3 episodes. Last night was the 4th, which was the loss to the Giants with the undefeated season. It was Brady, Randy Moss, and Michael Strahan. But what I love about documentaries, and this is why everybody loves documentaries and they love tell-all books, are that usually somebody in a position of power can never speak on the record about how they actually feel. Almost never, right? It's always got to be political. It's always got to be, let's take the high road on everything. Here we are today analyzing Ryan Tannehill's body language. Well, 15 years from now, if you ask Ryan Tannehill, hey, what happened in 2021? He might be willing to tell you, we had a bunch of injuries and our receivers sucked. That's what happened. Okay. But he can't say it now. And that's why everybody loves documentaries and everybody loves tell-all books. Because they're going to tell you something. Now, they may be lying, but you know what Tom Brady's side of the story is now. That's what this is. Just like The Last Dance, while a lot of those players that were on the Chicago Bulls in the 90s said, Michael's not telling the truth and Scotty went off the deep end, that's Michael's interpretation of his basketball career. So I'm watching Man in the Arena. And obviously, I love the Patriots, in terms of all the Belichick stuff, the bunker stuff, the things that you really had to dig in order to get out of Floyd. I love that stuff. And that's what this show basically is. And so I'm watching last night, and you know those friends you have that tell you about their diets, and it's total bullcrap? It's like I read an article about Shaquille O'Neal. And I'm not here to body shame Shaq, but I think we have a pretty good idea that Shaq probably eats a lot. And
probably so.
I read Shaq's diet one time. I Googled, what does Shaq do? Shaq wakes up in the morning and he drinks a protein shake.
Okay.
Then Shaq works out, according to this article I read. Then Shaq eats baked chicken for lunch.
No, he doesn't.
Then Shaq has either grilled chicken or seafood and vegetables for dinner. Anybody believe that?
I have never eaten a meal with Shaq, so I can't say with utmost certainty, but I kind of feel like that's not what Shaq eats.
I got to believe that he's sneaking some of them Shaq-a-roni pizzas into that diet.
Like Michael Phelps' diet, like I'll buy that. Like he wakes up and he eats 4 plates of fettuccine Alfredo.
Well, sure.
I buy that.
Like when a fit person tells you what their diet is, that probably makes sense. But like when somebody tells you like that's their diet, they're not telling you the truth. And the Patriots for years have always acted as if they're above the media noise. Like we're above what the outside world says. We ignore it. We don't need to hear what these people say. And I wonder, because the Titans are trying to run themselves like a Patriots organization, if we should buy that the Titans don't hear the outside noise as well. So last night, the show was on Spygate. And all of a sudden, these Patriot players that for years and years and years told us, we don't care what other people say, we don't get worked up about it, we don't. Randy Moss tells you when the Spygate stuff broke, all those veteran players of the Patriots, they didn't like what they were hearing.
I really didn't know what the hell Spygate really was. I wasn't there. So, I'm listening to the vets. Now, I'm a vet, but the guys that I'm calling the vets, these are the Super Bowl winning vets. Tom, Bruschi, Vrabel, Falk, Wilfork. These guys are affected by it, like for real, for real.
For real, Mike Vrabel's affected by that. And Brady even told you, as you're listening to it, this is Randy Moss and Brady talking about Spygate, and the way they say ignore and block out, I think really means use it to motivate the outside noise. Here's them talking about Spygate.
We took it upon ourselves to, you know what? Let's ignore the noise and let's knock everybody out the box that comes this way.
And it seemed like they knew everything.
Fires down the right side. Touchdown! Randy Moss! What a throw! He makes catching a football look.
Nobody said anything about Spygate this and Spygate that. Nobody.
Spygate scandal or whatever you want to call it. You're not going to insult us. We're going to go out there and we're going to dominate.
We are not finished! We are not finished, fellas! Looks, fires, intercepted! Looking. Floats it to the right. Touchdown, Benjamin Watson. I mean, what a statement this is.
Not turn on the TV to listen to how a so-called expert thinks about some. He has no clue what he's talking about. And all it does is diminish what we're accomplishing.
So I'm not going to turn on the TV and hear some BS from some so-called expert that I think they're probably listening.
I mean, it's the same kind of thing of Bill Belichick telling the team about Philadelphia's championship parade and the route and the parade that they were already planning. They use that to their advantage. They use that as fuel.
And so that made me think. Because I think you're right. I think what this has turned into, what Belichick's done. Now, the difference is Belichick seeks that. When he wants to go drop this off in front of the team and he wants them to, I think Belichick seeks that. To go put that out there and then kind of unite everybody around it.
Probably so.
I think the Titans probably do the same thing, right? Like, we have to assume that the Titans do the same thing. Here's the problem, though. The New England Patriots were 3-time Super Bowl champions, famous coach, famous quarterback. They're on every primetime game. They're in a giant city in America in Boston. Every time somebody talks about the Patriots, it's a big deal. It'll be on every ESPN talks about the Patriots every day. They even talk about them now. And the greatest quarterback who ever lives is not there anymore. Nobody ever talks about the Titans. And I wonder, okay, then do the Titans not feel the outside noise? Or do the Titans feel the local noise? And I don't know the answer to this. And here's what I think. I think they probably do. And I'm guessing that a lot of it's probably from this show. Like that the motivation of, this guy. And this is why I'm not backing off the Titans. Because I think the Titans listen. And I think there's got to be somebody who, will sit there and will look at a game, even when they beat the Colts, and will go bananas after they lose that game because they didn't play well, because I think they need to hear it. Because it's obvious to me that all these guys that spend all this time telling you, we never listen to what the media has to say, we don't care what they say about us. No, it tells me it's the opposite. It tells me that you guys do care. If you're going to sit there and say, All these people are calling us cheaters and saying we're not any good. We're going to band together and we're going to show you. Tells me you listen. And if one of the guys who was the key cog in all of that is now the head coach here, my guess is that's probably how he's approaching it too. By the way, Mike Vrabel, and this is why Mike Vrabel press conferences are so hard to deal with. Mike's fine, but his press conferences, you never know if he's telling you the truth or not. As Floyd would say, I don't know, are you peeing on me and telling me it's raining because I don't care? Listen to Vrabel. This was 2 episodes ago when Vrabel was on this show, talking about all the talk about a dynasty and back-to-back, and listen to Vrabel talk about it, and then you hear a clip from Vrabel at the time where he basically tells you, yeah, back then I was lying to you. Take a listen.
We all knew that back-to-back was something that was really, really attainable, something that we, I think probably focused on and thought about.
We certainly don't get caught up in considering ourselves a dynasty.
We probably downplayed it publicly, but it was like, man, if we could do this, we could really validate these last 2 seasons and kind of what we've done.
So we really thought about it a lot, but we kind of downplayed it publicly. Yeah, no, we don't think about it at all. But yeah, no, we did a lot. That's Titans. I'm convinced of it. And that's why we talked about Tannehill's body language today at the press conference, and is Tannehill feeling the heat, and I think it's a good thing. I think pressure is a good thing. And I think that the Titans aren't going to get pressure nationally because nobody cares about them across the country. So it's got to come locally. I understand, I don't go to all these press conferences like everybody else. I do during the preseason when there's not a lot going on. But like this time of the year, I got a lot of different sports going on, whatever. I understand that, you don't want to be like Mr. Combative every day, and you don't want to be the guy in Buffalo. How embarrassed are you that, whatever. But I do think, contention is not a bad thing. If it gets the Titans to play better, good. And I wonder if they need that from the local media and the local press and the local fans and the local everything, because it's obvious that they play better when they feel like their backs are against the wall. Remember when they beat the Rams and Kevin Byard and Jeffrey Simmons on the field with Michelle Tafoya after the game? Look at your power rankings now. We're 7-2. We're 7-2. Oh, so you're looking at the power rankings.
And you care about them.
So you think the Titans are blocking out the noise, or do you think that we need to pump more negative noise into the Titans to get them on the right track?
I mean, I think that anyone that says, we don't look at Twitter, we don't look at what you all have to say, I think they're all lying. Now, maybe them or some of them are telling the truth, and they don't need any sort of outside whatever. But I think in this case of the Titans, especially hearing that from Man in the Arena and knowing that the top guy with the Titans was someone who used that as fuel, I think it would be tough to believe that they don't. And especially, like you said, Kevin Byard say, how do you like us now? And even Mike Vrabel sometimes in press conferences will reference things that people wrote in articles or said on shows, so on and so forth. But I do wonder, are we a little bit nervous that the Titans care too much about what we have to say about them? And that's where their head's at, is what people are saying about them, not necessarily how they're playing.
I think that may be a fair question to ask. But what's funny? I do think there are certain people who actually ignore the noise. I think Floyd, when he was general manager, and maybe, not to say that he was a franchise record in wins.
Right.
But maybe if he had listened to the noise a little bit more, he could have, kept Jeff Fisher from doing what Jeff Fisher ultimately did, which would have made the franchise a better place.
It's a delicate balance.
I mean, it's tough. It's tough. But no, I think that here's what I think. I think owners listen. I think general managers listen. I think coaches listen. I think players listen. I think they read. I think anybody who tells you they ignore the noise, I think is lying. And I think some guys, there's very few that can really just bunker down and not pay attention to it. I think Belichick, for example, every day there's a show that debates Belichick something this or that.
Right.
I don't think Belichick cares what Skip Bayless says. I think people will bring things to Belichick to take to the team. And then Belichick will present it to the team. But I don't think Belichick's watching Skip Bayless and thinking, can you believe what Skip Bayless said? Which, by the way, This is now the second Tom Brady-produced documentary I've seen in which features Skip Bayless's takes a lot. Like the one that they had on Facebook.
Skip loves to play the hits. LeBron, Tom Brady.
I know, but
the Yankees.
Like 3 years ago, there was a show on Facebook that was a Brady show that he put together. Gotham Choppa, who's the director of this, was a part of that. And they had like a lot of Skip and Shannon, and a lot of the Boston radio show that we reference a lot, Felger and Maz, had a lot of that in there. And this, like when they're talking about like 2004, it has a lot of like Skip Bayless on a show called First and 10, where his debate partner is always somebody different. Like one time it was Pat Forty.
Cool.
And so this was before First Take. And it's Skip Bayless, but it's still Skip Bayless all the time. And when Brady's like, you know, I'm not going to turn on the TV and hear some so-called expert talk some BS. Maybe he's talking about Skip. I don't know. 615-737-1025. Here's the question. Do you think the Titans are ignoring the noise, or do you think they hear it? Do you think they feel the pressure? Should they feel more pressure? 615-737-1025. And there is one Titan in particular, I wonder, as far as pressure is concerned. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company right here on ESPN 1025 The Game. We'll have your chance to win Preds tickets, by the way, later on in the show. So be listening for that. Let me tell everybody, when the Preds have a weekday game this season, it's your chance to participate in Preds Pick to Click, brought to you by New Amsterdam Vodka. If you guess a Preds player that scores a goal in the game that night, you win a pair of tickets to a future Preds home game. Your next chance to participate is tomorrow morning at 8:45 a.m. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 1025 The Game.
A backhander and he scores! Nick Cousins and the Predators retake a 2-goal lead.
The Predators dominate Detroit to claim a second straight victory.
Really good for us. Really solid game. It's good to get off to a win on the road trip.
Your exclusive home of Smashville is
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Audible is best-selling audiobooks, exclusive originals, and podcasts all in one app. This holiday season, treat yourself with 60% off your first 3 months. Just visit audible.com for more details.
It's the end of the year blowout sale at Social Furniture. Save up to 70% off Ashley Furniture. Social Furniture has truckloads of the best selection of furniture. Get your nightstands, mattresses, bar stools, sofas, and recliners. All on sale now. Come first for the best selection of furniture before it's gone. And you don't want to miss out. Visit Social Furniture on the west side at 5412 Charlotte Avenue. On the web at mysocialfurniture.com. Social Furniture is a proud supporter of your Nashville Predators.
WWE returns to Nashville with Friday Night SmackDown, January 21st at Bridgestone Arena. You'll see Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura with Rick Boogs as he battles Universal Champion Roman Reigns.
What's off with the fists?
Then, Sasha Banks challenges Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's Championship, plus much more. Tickets start at $20. Available 10 a.m. this Friday at Ticketmaster. Ringsider packages available.
Christmas shopping is in full swing at Electronic Express. Save big on the hottest gifts with up to 50% off in every department. 4K TVs, computers and gaming, smart home, housewares, and more. That's not all. Get up to 50% off all your appliance needs in stock and ready to deliver. Plus, buy now, pay later with up to 36 months free financing. Get your Christmas shopping done now at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Ryan Porth back again to tell you about Dr. Kelly Rice, Family Cosmetic and Dental Sleep Medicine. Earlier this year, Dr. Rice, I was disappointed to have a cavity filling even after brushing my teeth all the time and having regular checkups.
Ryan, cavities are like any other health condition. You don't really know you have one until it gets bad. Recently, I saw a patient for treatment that they had been putting off. Something that could have been simple to fix 6 months ago turned out to need a root canal and a crown. Postponing treatment costs more and takes time away from work.
Well, I can attest to the fact that if I had not been doing regular checkups, I may have had to get a root canal by now. But thanks to your great staff that has been taking care of me for almost 15 years, my teeth are as good as they've ever been.
Well, we do things differently. I want to let people know that if they're afraid of pain or worried about the cost, they are not alone. Don't be embarrassed. We understand. Give us a call at 615-373-4488. That's kellyerice.com.
Dr. Kelly Rice, Family Cosmetic and Dental Sleep Medicine, 615-373-4488.
Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. Is your AC or heating unit old and inefficient? Is it breaking down yearly? Now is the time to replace it. Waiting can cost you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Just like everything, the cost of a new AC unit is rising. Effective January 1st, all manufacturers are increasing prices up to 10%. Get ahead of the game and call Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, offering 60 months no interest financing and 10-year parts and labor warranty on all new units. Schedule now at springhillac.com or call 615-778-8855.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
Personally, just with your game over the years, you probably haven't played with maybe this many guys rotating in and out throughout a season, and I would guess that building that trust is a challenge at some point when you have that many guys coming through.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a challenge. It's not an ideal situation. You know, our team, I don't know what our number is up to right now with the number of guys that we've had play for us. But it's a testament to the resiliency of this team and the way that the mindset is and Vrabel, starts it from the top is no matter who's in there, take advantage of your opportunity, go make plays, and we'll find a way to win.
There you go. That was Ryan Tannehill today. I kind of feel like the Titans, that's nice to say. I do kind of feel like the last couple weeks, the Titans, without saying it, have kind of said it. Like, what are we supposed to do with all the injuries? Now, I don't think Vrabel has ever felt that way. But I think the Titans as a whole, I think that's kind of been their feeling. That's
I understand both sides of it of, this is the NFL. And, when one guy goes down, it's just the next man up. And we are going to make it seamless. And I get
Which
that.
is how Vrabel approaches it.
Which is how Vrabel approaches it, and probably how a lot of football guys approach it. But sometimes you also have to bring a little bit of reality and logic into it of, throw us a bone here. What are we really expected to do when we have this many injuries?
Yeah, we did throw you a bone. We didn't get too mad that you lost to the Patriots, even though the guys that should be on the field made a bunch of mistakes anyways. Kind of shrugged it off. Nobody was mad with the 8-4 going into it. Nobody was upset. I mean, they lost to the Texans, and nobody was screaming after they lost that game. That tells you that we, as the community, have not been too over the top on the Titans. And that brings me to what we were discussing about the fact that clearly they hear the noise. If the Patriots 15 years later are going to cop to the fact that they hear the noise, then the Titans definitely hear the noise. Some guys, individuals, can block it out. But in the social media age, I think it's hard for me to believe that these guys don't at least get a glimpse of what's being said. Now, I will say this. I have always believed, as a talk radio host, sometimes people get this weird thing that when you say something bad about somebody on the radio, that it's like you're saying it behind their back. I think it's the opposite. I think you're pretty much saying it to their face because bad news travels fast. So if I get on here today and I go off on Jerry Stackhouse and the fact that Jerry Stackhouse has now been the coach at Vanderbilt for 3 years, and I'm not sure they've won any meaningful basketball games since he's been the coach. That'll get to Jerry. I think I've said that I don't really believe Jerry's the guy, but if I got up here today and say, they need to fire Jerry Stackhouse, that would get back to Jerry Stackhouse.
Probably so.
I couldn't care less if they fired Jerry Stackhouse or not. Vandy basketball is irrelevant right now. But that's why I always think, if you say something about somebody, they're going to hear about it. Coach. I can tell you right now, a lot of coaches and general managers and players in town that don't like me, and it does not bother me. Do you think Tannehill hears the noise? Do you think that this is affecting Tannehill? Tannehill knows he's throwing too many interceptions. He knows that. But do you think Tannehill hears the noise? Do you think Tannehill knows that right now, every day, the city is debating whether or not he stinks?
I think so. And I think that we saw it a little bit in his press conference today because what is Ryan Tannehill? He is a coach talk savant. He feels almost like a steel vault when it comes to his feelings. And we've seen some of his feelings come out, for example, the Daniel Munyer comment in Tampa Bay. But for the most part, Ryan Tannehill feels like a steel vault when it comes to what he really thinks and what goes on in his head and what goes on in that locker room. But I think today, if you and I both felt from his body language, because he's not going to tell you with his words, but if you and I both felt separately that he was giving away some clues of frustration or wanting to dodge questions, then I think he does hear the noise because I think he feels the pressure on himself. I think he knows.
You don't think that's just disappointment in his own play or disappointment in the situation?
I do think that's part of it because I do think that, I don't know how you can be a quarterback at this level and not know when you're not performing to the level that you're expected to perform at. Ryan Tannehill knows that he's been making some silly mistakes. Ryan Tannehill knows that throwing 4 interceptions against one of the worst teams in the NFL is unacceptable. But I think also the fact that the conversation has started from what's going on with Tannehill and has evolved into, is Tannehill the guy? Can Tannehill carry the Titans to a Super Bowl? I think he hears that, and I think that's gotten to him. But maybe it's in a good way. Maybe it's him saying, all right, we're on the verge of a breakthrough in terms of these injuries and these guys coming back, and I'm going to prove to people that I can do that.
It's only a good thing if you go out there and play better.
And I think that, I guess we'll see. I guess we will see.
So here's the other thing I was thinking about, too. Does it matter if it's local? When I watch all these Patriot documentaries, it's always something that Tom Jackson said.
Well, it's because the Patriots were one of the best teams in the NFL, and they're going to talk about nationally.
It reminds me of, the Bart Scott moment on the field, the can't wait. People forget about what happened. They went to Foxborough and they won. And Sal Paolantonio, ESPN's on the field with Bart Scott after the game, and because clearly Bart knows he's talking to ESPN, Bart Scott looks in there and says, this is for you, Tom Jackson. This is for you, Keyshawn. This is for you. And he's like, all the guys that morning on NFL Countdown that picked against them, that Bart Scott's yelling at them. Do we think that this is like locally, the local guys are always going to complain about this or they're going to say that or whatever. To be honest with you, I think the Titans get it pretty easy locally. I'm just telling you. I think that I'll say it. I think that we as a media market are kind of soft. And I hope in my heart that maybe we get a little bit better and maybe a little bit more informed. And I'm certainly talking about myself too. But that maybe we get a little bit better and a little bit more informed in how we cover these teams as opposed to maybe the way I feel now, where I still feel like it's small time, sometimes just glad to have an NFL team type coverage. And I mean that as like a giant overall thing. So if you're one person who covers the team and you're going to get mad about it, I may be talking about you, I may not be. But I'll give you an example. I think the way Adam Vingan covers the Predators is exactly how the team should be covered. And that's hard for me to say because Adam says some dumb stuff. But I do think the way Adam Vingan covers the Predators is exactly how it should be, which is, now, look, I've disagreed with Adam on a lot of things, but the blocking and tackling, the fundamentals of his, the way he covers the Predators, I think is almost flawless. And that's how I think it should be. Adam can be very harsh sometimes on the Predators, but I think, he understands what they're doing. He's connected inside there a little bit. I think that's the way it should be. With us, sometimes I feel like covering the Titans, I feel like sometimes the local media is afraid to make people mad or to get shut out or to what. I can't remember. Well, I guess I take this back. I was going to say I can't remember the last time that I interviewed on air John Robinson, but we did have him on for the Floyd Reese show. But other than that, I can't. I don't think since Floyd left the show, we've had John Robinson on talking Titans general manager stuff. Mike Vrabel as a guest. We had Mike Vrabel on once the day he was hired. I think that's right. And I don't think we've had John Hines or David Poyle on since the bubble. This is, and I'm not mad about it. And everything about the Stillman and Company show, go look at Jonathan Hutton's Twitter. Everything about the Stillman and Company show will tell you we're doing just fine without it. But I do feel like maybe there needs to be, it needs to be tougher on these teams. The expectations need to be higher. That we don't need to have all this, discussion about, well, Des Fitzpatrick did this or the Derrick Henry's out here or the this and the. No. These are the standards.
Do you think that's a big market versus small market problem? Because I think about the most critical cities on the sportscasters or the radio broadcasters or the writers that are the most critical on their teams.
But see, I don't think
Boston,
I don't think they're very critical in
New
Los
York.
Angeles. I don't think they're very critical in Los Angeles.
I don't
think
consume enough local LA
I don't think
media.
they're very critical. I don't think they're very critical in Miami. And Miami's a bad sports town. I think in Atlanta, a little bit, but not really. I think in Atlanta, if you're not good in Atlanta, they just ignore you. Like that, unless you're the Georgia Bulldogs, they just ignore you in Atlanta if you're not good. And so I do wonder if that's like more of the fact that like the harshest media markets for the most part are A, the ones that have had teams for like 60 years, 100 years, and B, places that the people, for the most part, are not very nice. They're not very nice in New York. The weather there's terrible. They're not very nice. I mean, they are just reckless in Boston, and the weather there's terrible. Chicago, the weather's terrible. They're trying to run that poor football coach out of town. Can't run him out fast enough. I mean...
But do you think, like, the Minnesota media is really tough on their teams?
Minnesota's shockingly a large market. Like, Minnesota and Detroit. Detroit, very tough on their teams. But
I'm saying, you're saying the weather sucks in New York, the weather sucks in Boston, Minnesota. Weather sucks in Minnesota.
Minnesota's awful.
Minnesota's not great. But, are they as tough on their teams as, say, in Boston? Or is it a combination of, just the way of life and the way that people are in those places, how long a team has been there, and the success that a team has had? Because it can be really tough. It's a lot easier to criticize the Patriots because we know what the Patriots are capable of.
We know what the old Patriots are capable of.
We know what Bill Belichick is capable of.
Right, but, shouldn't we be holding the Titans? I think we should be holding the Titans to the same standard that Felger and Maz and 98.5 in Boston are holding the Patriots to.
I'm with you. I'm just trying to get down to the root of...
But I'm telling you, I don't feel like the way the Titans are covered, I don't feel like that's the case. And I don't feel like the way the Predators are covered, I don't feel like that's the case. I feel like it's just kind of like, okay. And not, that's just me, though. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll do some headlines coming up next. 615-737-1025 here on the program. FanDuel Sportsbook is my official sportsbook app. The NFL playoffs are almost here. And to help you stay on top of the action, FanDuel Sportsbook is giving you $10 in a bonus when you place $20 on a same-game parlay bet. Bet on a single game or spread and spread your bets out across multiple matchups. It's up to you. As long as you bet $20 in a same-game parlay during the same week of NFL action, you're going to get a $10 bonus. So I'd say on this one this week with the Titans, coming off of a bye against Jacksonville, I think there's a lot of money to be made, especially running the football with the backs they used against the Patriots. The same-game parlay bonus is live during weeks 13, 14, and 15, so lock in some winners today and enjoy a $10 bonus on FanDuel. If you're new to FanDuel, sign up with the promo code JGM to get 30-1 odds on either team to win in the Browns-Ravens rematch. You can win $150 on a $5 bet with promo code JGM exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. 21 and older in present Tennessee. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max bonus $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
Thursday night.
Shot stopped and the rebound stopped by Saros. 2 huge stops there by UC Saros.
UC Saros and the Nashville Predators continue their East Coast trip on Long Island against the Islanders. Pre-game at 5:30, face-off at 6:30 on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This holiday season, head into Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest gifts from Callaway and Bushnell, featuring Callaway's Epic Woods, framing the future of speed with speed frame and AI technology for maximum ball speed and maximum forgiveness. It's the ultimate epic driver. And don't miss these hot gifts from Bushnell, like the Tour V5 and the Tour V5 Shift with Pin Seeker technology, or the Wingman with Bluetooth and audible GPS for distance. Edwin Watts Golf Shops is home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, or shop us online for the holidays at worldwidegolfshops.com.
Do you really want to go through another year with that awful joint pain? Well, don't do it. Resolve right now to get yourself moving again for 2022. Willie Donick here. It's time to call the folks at QC Kinetics. Non-surgical regenerative treatments for joint pain. We're talking lasting results using natural biologics. No surgery, no pain meds, no steroids, and no downtime. This is really exciting stuff. Regenerative, restorative treatments that actually encourage your body to heal itself using highly concentrated natural biologics. Patients rave about it for hip pain relief, knee pain relief, shoulder and back pain relief. Don't let them give you the steroids. Don't let them tell you your surgery is the only option. Get a free second opinion at QC Kinetics and do it now. And imagine life in 2022 without pain. Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics.
Victory Award-winning New Amsterdam Vodka knows all about it, but in life, it's not always so clear. So New Amsterdam Vodka believes that in life, you've got to find your own wins. You've got to overcome your fears, go all in, even when you've got nothing at all. Find your wins. And when you do, raise that glass of New Amsterdam Vodka in victory. You've earned it. New Amsterdam Spirits Company, Modesto, California.
I'm Dr. Andrea Russo, a cardiologist. Maybe you're waiting to talk to your doctor right now. But if you're having an irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, don't wait. This could be a serious condition like atrial fibrillation, which can make you about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you're having these symptoms, don't wait. Talk to a doctor by phone, online, or in person.
Brought to you by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Alabama versus Cincinnati.
Leonard Taylor, touchdown Cincinnati.
Michigan versus Georgia.
To the end zone, Kearis Jackson has got it.
Your exclusive home for the college football playoff semifinals on New Year's Eve is
ESPN.
102.5 The Game, 94.9, and the Game Nashville app. Brought to you locally by 312 Pizza Company in Shermantown.
What's up, Nashville? This is Stephen A. Smith. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Stillman and Company, the injury report is out for the Titans. Goodness gracious. Is it? I mean, it's just so depressing. Here you go for the Titans. Julio Jones did practice, but he's not listed on the injury report because he's technically on IR. Tommy Hudson, Jack Rabbit Jenkins, David Long Jr., hamstring, did not practice along with Elijah Molden and T.R. Tart. Danico Autry, Harold Landry limited with a knee and a hamstring.
Don't love that.
Ola Adani, Jayon Brown, Nate Davis, Rashawn Evans, Greg Maben, Jeremy McNichols, all full participants. So, honestly, you need Jack Rabbit Jenkins on Sunday. You need David Long Jr. on Sunday. You need Landry and Autry on Sunday. But other than that, so far looking good. And some big names not practicing for the Jags, which we'll worry more about them as the week progresses. But it's time now for Headlines with Caroline.
We're spanning the sports world. It's Headlines with Caroline on Stillman and Company. Right here on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
So I'm not one to body shame, but there has been a lot of discussion about a certain athlete's weight. Zion Williamson, there was a picture that surfaced on Twitter of him looking awfully thick. So a lot of people on Twitter were trying to guess how much he weighed, but ESPN's Tim McMahon confirmed his weight. He said his sources say that Zion is currently sitting at 330, which puts him among the heaviest players in NBA history. So
okay, he's not heaviest in NBA history.
That's what the article said.
Like, you're telling me that Charles
330
Barkley,
pounds. So, for reference, Shaq's playing weight at 21 years old, which is how old Zion is right now, was 325, and he is more than half a foot taller than Zion.
How tall is Zion?
He's 6'6".
Zion 6'6"?
It's really not as tall as you'd think.
I thought Zion was like 6'10".
No, he's 6'6". But in Zion's defense...
No.
In Zion's defense...
No, you are a pro athlete. No.
The start of his senior year of high school, 6'6", 272. His freshman year at Duke, he was 6'6", 285. So 330 is way too high. But, he's always been thick. And, that's his greatest strength, is being thick. Not 330 thick. 330 is thick.
Here's a moment of truth of Zion. And isn't Zion hurt right now?
He is hurt. He just recovered from foot surgery. So I'm sure once he gets back to training, that number will go down. But right now,
this is the moment of truth, though. You're going to find out if Zion really cares. And there are guys that have eaten themselves out of the league, and he would not be the first. There was a player the Titans drafted one time, and it was odd because Floyd had hit on so many good picks in a row, and then he had this pick. And I said, Floyd, what happened to that guy? And he told me, he goes, he just got too fat. We just couldn't keep him from eating. He just kept eating. And with Zion, look, man, this is your career. And maybe he doesn't care. Look, everybody who's overweight wants to be thin. There's no doubt about it. But I think there's you can tell when there's a priority in somebody's life. And, watch Charles Barkley when he was really good. Barkley was lean. Barkley, now he was always bigger, but he was leaner when he was at his best. 330 pounds for Zion Williamson. And not only that,
huge.
If you're 330 and you're used to playing at 270, you're going to get hurt again. That's another concern here. But 330 pounds, goodness gracious. What's next?
Sticking on, we were talking about, Zion's college days. It's sticking on the college theme. It emerged that according to the
transition right there.
Yeah, it was. My bad. Action Network released that LSU was willing to offer Texas A&M head coach Jimbo Fisher an 8-year, $125 million deal. So it came out to about $13 million a year to come to LSU. So obviously that did not come to fruition, but crazy amounts of money that LSU was willing to throw at Jimbo Fisher. And for what? What has Jimbo Fisher done?
Lost to Arkansas?
Granted, they beat Alabama this past year, but that wasn't. I don't think if they play that game 10 times that Texas A&M would win 10 times.
So I asked Sean Reese this last week because he's a diehard Texas A&M fan, Floyd's son, and I said, "Are you happy with the results you've gotten from Jimbo?" And he said, "No, but he expects Jimbo to win big real soon." And then said, "But I'm an internal optimist." And to me, Jimbo in the SEC West is like a 9-3 coach, and that's fine. 9-3 is not bad. 9-3
is not bad.
But that's not what you're paying somebody. What was the money?
It was the 8 years, $125 million. $13 million.
$13 million per year to win 9 games is just not what people are doing.
No.
And so I don't understand where the obsession with Jimbo Fisher has come from. Jimbo Fisher won a national title, and that's fine. Ben Orgeron won a national title, and he's already been fired. I have a bigger issue with this idea that, Jimbo is head and shoulders better than the field. If you wanted to pay Saban that, I'd be totally understanding of it.
But not even Saban's making that much money.
But Jimbo? The obsession with paying Jimbo Fisher, I do not get it.
The crazy thing is the obsession with Scott Woodward wanting to pay Jimbo Fisher that much money because he was the one that hired him at Texas A&M.
Here's what I love about college football and what I love about athletic director searches. Do you know who Sharon Moore is?
I don't.
Sharon Moore is the co-offensive coordinator, offensive line coach at Michigan, and nobody around the country knows who Sharon Moore is. But Sharon Moore, I actually know pretty well, and I know a lot of people who know of him throughout his ranks in college say, great guy, great recruiter, tons of energy, young guy. And again, I'm using Sharon Moore as an example. I have no idea if Sharon Moore is a good coach. But I'd rather give that guy a try at $4 million to come in and try to do my job on a normal contract after all the success Michigan's offensive line has had. You saw what they did to Ohio State. I'd rather bring that guy in to be my head coach than to try out Brian Kelly at $10 million in a place where he's a fish out of water at LSU. And when things go bad, people are going to be saying, what do we hire this guy for? And there's no way out of it because in order to get that coach for as much money as you're paying, but some of these ADs, they want to win the hire more than they actually want to get the guy who's good enough for the job. Give me the Oklahoma athletic director that's willing to say, no, I want to promote within Lincoln Riley, you're the head coach. Give me the guy that made the wide receivers coach at Clemson, Dabo Swinney. I get it. It worked with Nick Saban. But for the most part, it hasn't worked that well. And I think that what athletic directors have done is they've become big-name hunters as opposed to coaching scouts. And I think you need an athletic director to be able to scout who's going to be a good coach or not. And I don't think Scott Woodward has any interest in doing that. I think he loves the big name, and I think he loves getting congratulated for the big name more than he does caring about what that big name does.
And I'm with you. He does love a big name. They call him the big game hunter. But what's to say that the big name isn't going to be a good coach? Because they're a big name for a reason.
Who was his last one?
It was Jimbo Fisher.
And we just sat there and complained about how Jimbo Fisher does not win enough.
At Texas A&M, correct. Yes, you're right.
Maybe Brian
That
Kelly
doesn't mean that every single
Brian
hire
Kelly
is going to
wins
be
a
that
national
way.
title, but I'm just saying I would rather. I think it's just. I think what your fans are expecting with $13 million is not 9-3. What's next?
The Titans announced their nominee for the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. Of course, an award in the NFL honoring a player's volunteer and charity work as well as his excellence on the field. Their nominee is Derrick Henry. So
surprised Derrick Henry didn't have a press conference for this. And I guess I'm not surprised. But look, they don't want to put Derrick. Derrick's not going to want to do a press conference. They're not going to put Derrick out there. But I think Derrick should have done a press conference for this.
Probably so.
They put out a video, but I think that, look, this, and I know Derrick didn't want to do one probably, and I'm making assumptions here, but I was surprised that, and good for Derrick and his community work, and I think Derrick cares a lot about the community.
He's done a lot this year.
But I was surprised no press conference for Derrick Henry upon receiving the nomination for Walter Payton Man of the Year.
I do wonder, because he would do the press conference in person, correct?
Yes.
I wonder if the Titans didn't want to bring him out there just so there wouldn't be any assumptions made based on the status of his foot.
No, I don't think they brought him out there because they don't want Derrick to do a 30-minute press conference that they really scheduled for 5 to talk about his community achievements, to answer one question about his community achievements, and answer 35 questions about his foot. But that's the reality of the situation. Those are headlines with Caroline. Coming up next, the Predators get a big win in Detroit last night. It was enjoyable. I got ESPN Plus. But coming up next, why it's not the win last night that matters. I'll explain. Stillman and Company. And you know what? Speaking of the Predators, I'm in a good mood today. Ho, ho, ho from Santa Claus. Let's give away some Predators tickets. Be caller 5 right now, and you'll win a pair of tickets to see the Predators take on the Colorado Avalanche at Bridgestone Arena on Thursday, December 16th. Don't miss out on the 2 games next weekend against Calgary on Tuesday, 7 o'clock, and against the Avalanche on Thursday at 7 o'clock. More information on Predators tickets can be found by going to nationalpredators.com/tickets. Single game tickets are available in multiple price levels and are subject to availability by game and price level. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Sunshine this afternoon, high of 53 degrees. Then we're back to the 60s for Thursday, near record heat in the 70s on Friday, and strong storms to start the weekend.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Staples Connect is a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore more at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
Gary Ashton here. Most people in Nashville know me as the don't sell without the intel and the guaranteed offer guy. But despite my accent, I'm also 100% guaranteed Nashville. I'm a guaranteed musician, a guaranteed dog lover, and you're also guaranteed to see me at every Titans and Preds game. Guaranteed offer means the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage will sell your house for top dollar with no cleaning, staging, showings, or open houses, and give you up to 90 days to close. So there's plenty of time to find your next home. Guaranteed Nashville means my team lives here and loves it here. We've served Nashville for over 20 years, and we're passionate about helping the people we call neighbors and friends, which is why we've had a long-standing tradition of donating to the Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. If you're thinking about a guaranteed offer, get the only one that's guaranteed Nashville. Request a no-obligation offer by calling 615-301-1650 or go to GaryAshton.com today. Remember, Gary Ashton, guaranteed Nashville.
Your home value is way up. Why not use it to make your home even nicer with a new kitchen or bathroom? Hey, Willie here. So many of our listeners are doing this with Loan Pronto, thanks to their zero-cost cash-out refi program. Call Loan Pronto now. They're fast-tracking home refis for the year-end, and people are getting checks for 60, 70, 100 grand or more. It's fast and easy. It's your money, money you can use to add even more value to your home. Imagine 2022 with that all-new luxurious kitchen you've been dreaming about, or start building that pool.
so it's going to be ready for the summer. Call Loan Pronto now. See how easy it is to use the equity in your home and walk away with the big check. They can even pay your closing costs, and you can skip your next 2 house payments. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
ESPN 1025, The Game, and Music City Man Cave want to treat one lucky listener to the full male grooming experience. Text CAVE to 615-737-1025 to enter for your chance to win the Monastery treatment package from Music City Man Cave.
Whether you're vaccinated or not, it's important to know the symptoms of COVID and its variants. Fever is the leading sign, and only the Exergen temporal scanner thermometer has been proven accurate with more than 100 clinical studies. Non-contact thermometers have no clinical evidence behind them and cannot be relied on. Be vigilant and seek medical advice at the first sign of fever. Be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Darren McFarland.
He's cool. He's got a personality, and they make fun of him.
Willie Donick.
With this being a fun guy to come to work and hang around with all day.
Chase McCabe.
They're just like, hey, we need you to play yourself.
Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Curacion CBD on Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Now pass back by Johansson to Fabro, brought in by Yossi. Yossi stick handling, going to the front of the net, and he scores! What a gorgeous move. Roman Yossi made it look just sort of matter of fact. Stick handled in and slid it in along the ice.
Well, that was a thing of beauty.
I do love in the middle of that, you hear Hal just go, oh my goodness, because I'm watching the game last night, the Predators game on ESPN Plus. And I think I had, like, the sound muted. Which, let me say, I kind of like the ESPN presentation. Like, I kind of like it. I liked the broadcasters last night. I liked the, intermissions. Honestly, I like the fact that the ESPN Plus app is way easier to use than the Bally Sports app.
It is very user-friendly.
If they put every Preds game, if they took the blackouts away and put every Preds game on ESPN Plus, because every game's on ESPN Plus right now, that's like out of market.
Right.
I'd love it. Oh, would I love it. But that's neither here nor there. That goal by Roman Yossi yesterday was so sick that I remember like looking up, and I think I had it muted. I might not have. But I saw the play, and I thought, oh, dear God, that's dirty. Oh, my God. And so to hear how, like, as Pete's calling, can we get that call back, Ian? That call from Pete.
Now pass back by Johansson to Fabro, brought in by Yossi. Yossi stick handling, going to the front of the net, and he scores.
That's exactly how I felt watching it. That was some Connor McDavid. That was through 3 guys around the goaltender.
I think
with
it was
the
maybe even
backhand,
4.
And it was just beautiful. Oh, was it beautiful. So anyway, the Predators won last night. Matt Duchene scored. Roman Yossi scored. Was it Duchene that got the first one? Or was it Johansson?
Johansson from Duchene.
Okay. So I tweeted this out. And I say, if the good players on the Predators have played this well at any point over the past 3 years, then the future of the franchise would be looking different. But they didn't. And the Predators are in this competitive rebuild, and that's what they call it. And I'm like, last night's win was good over Detroit. I didn't know if Detroit was any good. I looked at their home record, and it looked pretty good. And I looked at their actual record, and it looked pretty good. And Hal was like, yeah, these guys are, playing a little bit younger, so they got some more talent, whatever. But they still kind of stink, like watching them last night. But here's the bigger thing. What are you going to do tomorrow? And I know that would be like an ungrateful way of looking at it. Like there would be somebody that would think to myself like, now, Jared Stillman, you need to be thankful for the good win they had last night. But what I guess I'm tired of is like when the Predators score the first goal, they get a lot of energy and they get a lot of momentum and they get a lot. They look energized. They look like they're ready to play. They look like and when they give up the first goal, it's like they just drop their heads and just tuck it in for the rest of the night. And it has been that way for the last 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. And it's win one, lose one, win one, lose one, win one, lose one. So they beat a team they're better than last night. They played well, great energy, fun to watch. Well, now I need you to do the same thing on Thursday. And then it's just that crap team on Friday, the Devils, who I saw you spank in here a couple weeks ago, go do it again. Like, that's how you're going to get yourself out of, like, the purgatory space where I feel like they are right now in the NHL, which is 1 or 2 points out of a playoff spot, but they've got, everybody else that's fighting for these playoff spots has games in hand on them, and they really need to get out of that. They don't need to get out of it right now, but they need to get out of that around the first of the year and really get themselves, like, back into where they're supposed to be, and then that way we can start planning for the playoffs and things like that. But it just feels like, as much as I enjoyed last night's win, and it was a fun game, I'm kind of like, okay, now don't go in there and forget how to clear the puck out of the front of the net. Don't forget how to do that on Thursday night, because that's just what they've been doing time and time again. And technically, with that win, they are in a playoff spot by 1 point. So they would make the playoffs if the playoffs were today. But then again, most everybody has games in hand on the Predators. I thought last night's game was fun, though. And I thought that goal from Roman Josi was nasty last night as well. 615-737-1025. How Randy Moss ended up a Patriot. And I know a lot of people are thinking to themselves, who cares? But I do wonder this. I wonder if this story is why Julio Jones is here. I'll explain next. Stillman and Company, CSP at 102.5 The Game.
The voice of reason.
If I'm the official, I would send both teams to the locker room and say, this is going to stop.
The voice of the fan.
Our entire team's a MASH unit right now.
The voice of Nashville sports is your home of Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Closer, bolder, golden. Nashville SC Stadium is arriving in 2022, and season tickets are on sale now. With just 150 feet between the pitch and the last row, you'll be right there in the action no matter where you sit. If you thought soccer in Nashville was a party already, you ain't seen nothing yet. So come on in, grab a seat, and stay a while as we open a new era of Nashville sports. For more information on season tickets at the new Nashville SC Stadium, visit nashvillesc.com/22 ticks.
It's the 12 days of Christmas at Genesis Diamonds with the best gift ever, 5 years, 0 interest financing. That's right. For the first 12 days of December, you get the unbeatable Genesis value price, plus 0 interest financing for 5 years with nothing down. So you can splurge on a new diamond. Why not upgrade her from a 1 carat to a 2 carat? With this offer, you can get a $12,000 designer engagement ring for just $200 a month. All Genesis GIA certified diamonds are included. So if you're celebrating a lifetime of love, or just starting out, you can get the ring of her dreams and spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest. Diamond earrings, diamond pendants, diamond bands, and bracelets are also included. But you need to shop early. This finance offer is going on now through December 12th only at Genesis Diamonds. Merry Christmas from Genesis Diamonds. Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit, see store for details. Are you suffering from chronic joint pain like Heather?
I have terrible arthritis and have had it for quite a while. And I've gone to all kinds of doctors trying to figure out what to do. And everybody just said surgery. And surgery was months of rehab. And I didn't want to do that.
But then Heather discovered QC Kinetics, local medical professionals who specialize in natural biologic treatments, non-invasive solutions designed to repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints. And she absolutely loves the results.
I like to tell anybody who's suffering that there are options that are not steroids, that are not surgery. You owe it to yourself to find out about QC Kinetics and find out what they can do for you.
No surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Discover QC Kinetics and learn more about natural biologic treatments with lasting results.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. Don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024.
Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. Is your AC or heating unit old and inefficient? Is it breaking down yearly? Now is the time to replace it. Waiting can cost you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Just like everything, the cost of a new AC unit is rising. Effective January 1st, all manufacturers are increasing prices up to 10%. Get ahead of the game and call Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, offering 60 months no interest financing and 10-year parts and labor warranty on all new units. Schedule now at springhillac.com or call 615-778-8855.
From curriculum-based literacy programs and sport leagues to college tours and workforce readiness tracks, Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee provide a safe place where youth gain the tools to learn, lead, and reach their full potential. You can support local youth and their great futures by donating at bgcmt.org.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman. On Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 102.5 The Game. Jason Fitz, ESPN, joining us in a little bit under 30 minutes. So I have been telling everybody, I've been watching Man in the Arena. That's right, the new Tom Brady Patriots docuseries on ESPN+. This week's edition featured Randy Moss, and I absolutely loved it. But it was funny kind of reliving the Randy Moss timeline. I remember when Randy Moss broke into the NFL, and he was the best player maybe in the league the day he entered it. He was that good as a rookie at Minnesota. Then he had some attitude problems. He had some off-the-field issues, had some getting along with his teammate issues, getting along with his coach issues, and he ended up in Oakland. And I remember, reading throughout the course of over the years, Randy Moss went to Oakland. He didn't really do anything. He didn't do anything at all in Oakland. And so then the Patriots traded for him, and he went right back to being the Randy Moss he was in Minnesota. And now remember who was a part of those Patriot teams when they made the move to go get Randy Moss. John Robinson was in the front office. So I'm watching kind of this whole backstory where Randy Moss and Brady are explaining how Randy Moss got to the Patriots. And I thought about the Julio situation. And remember, Julio wanted out of Atlanta, told Shannon Sharpe on national TV, even though he didn't know, he wanted out of Atlanta. He wanted to go somewhere else. But that's kind of where their stories stop. Now, Randy, I thought it was great. It was excellent. He explains how he ended up there. He wondered whether or not he was still the same Randy when he went to New England. But he tells the story of while he's with the Raiders, things aren't going well. Art Shell's the coach. They have no quarterback. His numbers aren't very good. Randy tells the story of how he decided to end up in New England.
I got a teammate that just got traded to the New England Patriots.
Fires it toward the end zone. Touchdown, Doug Gabriel.
So he calls me, tells me, man, you would love it here. I said, man, what is Tom Brady like? Is he all that they're saying that he is? Oh, man, you would love his preparation, Moss. You would love how he prepares, how he comes to practice.
We played in Minnesota in 2006, and he flew to Minneapolis.
That night, I put an outfit on, snuck in the Patriots Hotel. True story. Meet Tom Brady for 5 minutes.
Came up, and that was my first real interaction with Randy, and he was like, bro, I want to play with you.
Gave me 5, gave him a hug, and I said, look, man, you got a big game tonight. I don't want to take up your time. I said, but dude, things are not going right, and I want to play with you. That was it. I left.
And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm not really sure where this is coming from. Hey, I'm not the general manager, I'm the quarterback. And then I realized, he flew all the way out there to let me know that he wanted to come play together.
First of all, holy tampering. Randy Moss, I went back and looked it up today. Randy Moss played in a game on Sunday for the Raiders. They lost to the Steelers. He had 2 catches for 20 yards. on Monday, hopped in a plane, flew to Minneapolis, snuck into the Patriots hotel, and told Tom Brady he wanted to play with him. I assume got back on the plane and went back to Oakland. And by the way, when you lose in the NFL, you go to work the next day. So Randy just didn't go to work unless somehow they worked really, really, really early in Oakland.
And he caught a flight?
I guess.
Almost across the country?
I guess either that or Randy just didn't show up for work and the Raiders didn't want the headline, so they didn't tell anybody. But unbelievable, right? Unbelievable story.
Crazy.
So Randy Moss, in the middle of the season, decides he doesn't want to be in the Raiders anymore, flies on a Monday to Minnesota, sneaks into the Patriots hotel where there's probably security everywhere, and says, hey, I want to play with you. Do you think that happened with Julio? We saw the video of A.J. Brown wanting Julio to come to the Titans. But do you think there was something more than that? Do you think there was something that was communicated where Julio said, I want to be here? See, here's what bothers me about the Randy Moss-Julio situation. When Randy Moss got to New England with his talent, they went out and added Wes Welker and Dante Stallworth as well. And it was in my lifetime. And Brady talked about this, and they talked about it in the documentary covering this team. The 2007 Patriots are the best team in my lifetime that I've ever seen. And they just didn't win the Super Bowl. And if they had won the Super Bowl, they would be the gold standard for everything that we talk about when it comes to football. But they didn't. But they went out and they added Wes Welker, and they went out and added Dante Stallworth to go with Randy Moss. And I wonder if the Titans looked at this and said, that's our Randy Moss. That if Robinson and Vrabel got together with Julio Jones and said, that's our Randy Moss. Because we already went out and have A.J. Brown, and we just added Josh Reynolds, who's been a valuable veteran contributor for a while. And maybe I thought Reynolds was going to work here. And honestly, watching Reynolds play in Detroit, they probably should have found a way to make Reynolds work here. And maybe they thought, okay, with Derrick Henry and those three guys, this offense, you're not going to stop it. And maybe that's how they talked themselves into it. But did Julio go the extra mile for the Titans? And I don't know the answer to that. Did Julio do what Randy Moss did? Which, by the way, good Lord.
It's so not allowed.
What a bad teammate. And look, Randy had a good year in New England, then Brady got hurt the next year, and Castle came in, and then after that, Randy was back to being Randy, and Belichick shipped him out of there. But for 1 year, it was beauty between Brady and Randy Moss. And I wonder back. I keep wondering if Robinson and Vrabel convinced themselves into the Julio thing because of the Randy thing. But was Julio willing to do to show you how bad he wanted to be a Titan? Was he willing to do what Randy did? Now, here's the second part where Brady explains when they got Moss, and Moss talks about being there, but there's a big part about the contract that even Tom Brady alludes to. Take a listen.
So that offseason came, and I got a phone call from Coach Belichick, and he said, we're thinking of trading for Randy. What do you think? And I was like, what do I think? Absolutely.
Oakland sending disgruntled yet talented wide receiver Randy Moss to New England for a fourth-round draft pick.
Even if people are saying Randy Moss is not the same player that he once was, you have to pay attention to him, even if he doesn't get the
When is Tom getting here? When is Tom getting here so we can get to work? That's what I'm ready to do. I'm in my 10th year, and I'm still ready to play.
He came in with no agenda. He wasn't even getting paid that much money. There was just a lot of incentives.
Oh, he wasn't getting paid a lot of money. It was just incentives. So that's where, to me, I wonder if the Titans brass talked themselves in to trading for Julio, but they didn't do it the way that Bill did it. Bill traded a fourth-round pick for Randy Moss. And you heard Tom. He wasn't even making any money. Now, do I think Julio was excited to be here when the Titans went out? I do. I think Randy Moss says in the documentary that he told Brady, I don't know if I still have it or not, but I'm going to give you everything I got. And that after the first game or the first practice or something like that, Brady was like, yeah, he still got it. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if Julio probably felt the same way, I don't know if I still have it, but I'm going to give you everything I got. And then he gave you everything he got, and then he pulled his hamstring. And that, this is the other side of that, right? Like, aging wide receiver who was once great, who sets an all-time NFL record for touchdown catches in a season, one-time NFL wide receiver who was so great, old man comes in, pulls a hamstring. But the money. Bill didn't pay a second-round pick. He paid a fourth-round pick. Fourth-round pick's not as big as a second-round pick, obviously. Here's the contract numbers, according to this, for Randy Moss. Yearly earnings, according to Spot Track. 1998, $2.6 million. 1999, $722,000. 2000, $821,000. 2001, $10.5 million. So now we're into a second contract.
Right.
2002, $8.5 million. 2003, $5 million. 2004, $5.7 million. 2005, $7.7 million. 2006, $8.2 million. 2007, $3 million. $3 million for Randy Moss. There you go. And I wonder if they convinced themselves that Julio the player was going to be the addition to the Titans, like Moss the player was to the Patriots that Vrabel played for, and Robinson was a member of the front office. But they couldn't do what Bill did and get him for less. Get Julio to I said, look, if you get Julio to take less money, I'm fine with this trade. But they didn't. If you say, hey, you get Julio, but you trade a 6th-round pick and then you defer some of the salary, fine. But they didn't. They paid full price for Julio. And I would say it's probably blown up in their face to the point now where aren't we all just sitting there saying, like, maybe there's a chance he can come in and help him catch some passes right now? The idea of the explosive Julio Jones, that's gone, right?
I would say so, yes.
So now it's like, can the Titans make the best of a bad situation? But I wonder if it was the Moss situation that made them believe the Julio situation was going to work.
What was the situation with Randy Moss in Oakland? Was Oakland ready to get rid of him?
So Oakland was an unbelievable mess.
Uh-huh.
Like Atlanta's kind of a mess, but not really as much. Atlanta just had a really good team, and then they tried to hold on and tried to hold on and tried to hold on. And it was really more of like, that was your one shot, lightning in a bottle, and you blew it. But, they were a mess in Oakland. Art Shell was doing his second go-round with the Raiders. Al Davis, at this point, was all-time kooky. They hired Lane Kiffin that year. So it was an unbelievable, disaster. Mm-hmm. That was when they drafted Jamarcus Russell. It was bad. And I believe that Michael Lombardi was the general manager there, and Al Davis fired him because Belichick, who worked with Lombardi, Belichick had asked Lombardi if Moss could still run. So when they were having the discussions for the contract or for trading the contract or whatever, the story that Lombardi tells was Belichick asked, can he still run? Lombardi, wanting to get the trade done, said yes. Al Davis, according to Lombardi, fired him because he didn't think he should have told Belichick that before trading him, which doesn't make a lot of sense. But then again, it was Al Davis towards the end. So Al Davis kind of always a kook, but definitely a kook at that point.
The Raiders team.
The Raiders were a total mess.
Now, feels like the Raiders now.
Randy, way worse. Randy was Randy was a malcontent. Randy's on TV now, and so it's like people like he hit a cop with his car. That was
not great.
That's the rate. He had a quote, I play when I want to play, which was basically, I don't play hard all the time. There's a lot of things about Randy that don't totally add up. Now, Randy in that Patriot locker room was different. But I think that also because remember, we talked about whether or not Julio was going to make it Julio the guy.
Right.
And Julio the guy's been fine here, at least so far from what we've been told.
From what we can see,
Julio's
we don't see the, what the Falcons were worried about him becoming.
I wonder if they bought in to that Moss experience, and that's how they ended up trading for what is practically a lemon in Julio Jones.
I don't know. There are very similar aspects of the situation. A guy where his relationships and his past team are kind of starting to cause a little bit of friction, a guy who we thought was past his prime. I just find it I don't think that Julio was as forward as Randy Moss sounded like he was. I don't think that Julio was getting on a flight to Nashville and begging and pleading Ryan Tannehill or Mike Vrabel or John Robinson, please bring me here.
I hate to say this. I think you're right without knowing this, like what happened behind the scenes.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
I think you're right. I think Julio just wanted to leave the Falcons. And then when the Titans were willing to pay the money,
he was like, I'll go where the money is.
I'll go who will pay the money.
I mean, if Detroit was offering to pay him what the Titans are paying him, I think he would have been wearing a Lions uniform.
Yeah. I still think Moss is what convinced them to make this trade. This was such a bad trade. The Julio trade. We can admit that, right?
It was a bad trade. The Titans paid too much for him and put too much draft stock into him, and they're not getting enough out of him. And I don't really know how much you could have gotten out of Julio Jones that would have made it worth the while.
If you got the Randy Moss season from 2007, the 23 touchdown catches, that would have been worth it. But they didn't get that. They don't have a single touchdown catch.
No, it was a bad trade. But I have a tough time thinking that Julio wanted to be in Nashville and wanted to be a Titan as much as Randy wanted to be a Patriot.
The other thing, I don't think people are hopping on flights to go meet with Ryan Tannehill to tell him how bad they want to play with him. Now, I will say this. I bet there's a lot of dudes in the league that will tell Derrick Henry, I want to play with you.
Probably so.
That will say, look at Derrick Henry and say, I want to play with you, King. But I don't think there's anybody going to Tannehill and saying, oh, God, if I could just play with you, Ryan.
But is that what Julio wanted? Did Julio want to play with Derrick Henry? I can't imagine that any wide receiver would want to play with Derrick Henry because...
Oh. I mean, these guys want to win.
I mean, they want to win, but, I mean, your touches are going to go way down.
I know, but they got Derrick Henry, somebody gets singled up on every play.
That's true.
I will say this. I think you're probably right that clearly Randy was going to have issues wherever he went. And he ended up having issues in New England. But Randy went to New England and kind of, followed the course because he wanted to be there.
He wanted to win a Super Bowl.
If the Detroit Lions had offered what the Titans were offering for Julio Jones, Julio might be wearing a Lions uniform. And I don't think Randy was that way at that point. Because that was why Randy was probably wearing a Raiders uniform.
Yes.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. That's a wild story, though, isn't it?
That is a crazy
about
story.
About flying on Monday Night Football. Interrupting Tom Brady's day to be like, hey, man, I want to play with you.
And do you think that could ever happen today? Yeah. Like with social media and
yeah.
You think?
Yeah, because even though social media and that stuff exists, it's not getting inside the Patriots hotel.
That's true.
And the only things that get out are what people want to get out. So there's a reason. There sounds like there were 2 people involved in that, maybe 3 that were involved in that meeting. And
we didn't know about it.
We didn't know about it until now.
Yeah.
We didn't know about it 5 years ago. That tells you how guarded that was. By the way, holy tampering. 615-737-1025. Julio returns to practice today. We'll get some thoughts on that. What Tannehill had to say about Julio coming back. 615-737-1025. Let me tell you about Focus. That's right. Sparkling water with a spark. I got my Focus right here, PHOCUS, now available at your local Publix, and you can get it delivered right to your door for 15% off with the promo code GAME. Your body needs water, and it doesn't need to be boring. So instead of the crazy energy drinks and the high-calorie coffees and everything else, try Focus, sparkling water with a spark. It's infused with a boost of natural tea caffeine, so you get clean energy without sugar, calories, or crash. Go to drinkfocus.com to find the full lineup of flavors and get them delivered right to your door. Enter promo code GAME, G-A-M-E, at checkout for 15% off your first order. Focus is also available at your local Publix store. That's Focus, P-H-O-C-U-S. On the web, myguysdrinkfocus.com.
The 8-4 Titans have returned from the bye week.
A lot of moving parts to get guys back into the building coming off the bye, and then we'll see how, hopefully, guys are moving around with some energy at practice.
A crucial stretch run begins Sunday against the Jags.
Carlos Hyde driving it in for the touchdown.
Your home for the best Titans coverage is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Some people think fall is the best time of the year. It may also be a great time to consider getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Sponsored by BioNTech and Pfizer.
It's the end of the year blowout sale at Social Furniture. Closing out on Ashley's Furniture with up to 70% off. First come, first served on the best selection of furniture. Social Furniture has truckloads after truckloads of furniture with 100 loads of closeouts, samples, canceled orders, and discounted orders of Ashley Furniture. All on sale here at Social Furniture. $300 nightstands, now $99. $1,000 Ashley mattress, now $300. $200 bar stools, now for $59. $1,000 sofas, now $499. And recliners starting at $299. The best part is there's no waiting. Take your new furniture home today with Social Furniture's same-day delivery. They have 12 months same as cash. Hurry up and come down to Social Furniture's end-of-the-year blowout sale before it's gone. Visit Social Furniture on the west side at 5412 Charlotte Avenue or on the web at mysocialfurniture.com.
Touchdown, Boilermakers! Witness tomorrow's NFL stars this month at the TransPerfect Music City Bowl.
First down, hand off, tailback, right up the middle to the 30. He's out of here. 20, to the 10, crank up Rocky Top. Touchdown, right up the middle.
Don't miss a second as Tennessee and Purdue, two of college football's top programs, go head-to-head on Thursday, December 30th at 2 p.m. inside Nissan Stadium. For more information on this year's game, including ticket availability, visit MusicCityBowl.com. Presented by the Tennessee Lottery.
Dell Technologies' end-of-year sale is the perfect time to upgrade tech. Save big on the latest computers powered by Intel Core processors for your small business. Don't forget to shop servers, storage, and top-brand electronics with savings up to 45% and all with free shipping. Call a Dell Technologies advisor to help you find the right tech for your business needs at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Tune in every Monday at 8 a.m. and Friday at 3:15 to hear News 2's Corey Curtis take on all things Nashville sports, including the week's NFL games. All brought to you by Invigorate Health in Mount Juliet. Look and feel your best with IV therapy, medical weight loss, testosterone, body shaping, and more.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Maybe Julio back in the mix, and how quickly can you guys kind of pick up where you left off?
Yeah, excited to get Julio back. Have to build on things we've done in the past. Like you mentioned, it's been a little while since we've thrown and caught together, so these practice reps will be huge. We got some reps on Monday, which was nice. Excited to see him back out there, making plays and looking good running. So, like I mentioned, excited to have him back.
There you go. That was Tannehill today about the return of Julio Jones. Boy, everybody who covers the Titans today made sure to get a video of Julio Jones out there at practice.
Well, why wouldn't you?
No, I get it. I'm not saying they shouldn't have. I'm just saying, it's like anytime Julio does anything, it's like, Julio, Julio, Julio. And I'm sitting here like, David Long.
Well, David Long wasn't at practice today.
No, but on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the most important, having one person come back, I would put David Long at like a 9, and I'd put Julio at like a 6.5.
Okay, but of course they're going to take videos of Julio. He's back at practice after he was on IR.
I know, but it's like everybody's like, Julio, Julio, Julio. And look, I came into the season. Look, I was, and Caroline was there with me, but I was like the one person who was just legitimately adamant that they not make this trade. I mean, every day, did not back down, did not change course. Didn't like it. I thought they'd get more out of Julio than they've got. Now I just kind of look at it like, okay, what can you get? That's how I view the Julio Jones thing. I mean, I think that the Julio Jones trade it's not as bad as the Kyle Turris trade was for David Poile, which I would argue was the worst in the history of the Nashville Predators. It's pretty bad. I mean, it's a bad trade. And so now I'm like, what can you get out of it? But with David Long Jr., I'm like, that's a bad boy. You get David Long Jr. back out there, and I start thinking about playing the Steelers, and I'm like, he makes it a lot tougher for the Steelers if he's out there. Whereas, again, I'm like, David Long, Bud Dupree, and here it's like, Julio, Julio, Julio.
We do not talk enough about Bud Dupree.
No.
About how important it is to get Bud back on that defensive line.
Steelers in 2020 were 11-0 with Bud Dupree. They were 1-5 without him. The Titans played their best football when Bud Dupree finally got healthy for a 4-game stretch. Just happened to be a 4-game stretch where they won all 4 games as underdogs.
And won one of those games without Derrick Henry.
Yes. But they won it with
on
Bud.
the road at L.A. against the Rams.
And Bud was great. And
Bud was great.
And they won it with Bud. Let's go to your phone, 615-737-1025. Phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
One texter texts into the text line and says something very important. Not only do the Titans need to get guys back and healthy fast, they also need to start fast. I can't remember the last time the Titans started fast and kept the pace and finished.
The Rams game?
Yeah, I think the Rams game and the Chiefs game were their most complete games.
And they just happened to have Bud Dupree and David Long Jr. And look, Julio.
Derrick Henry for one of them.
Julio played well in that Rams game, but that was as a possession receiver.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he's going to be the rest of the year. He's a possession receiver now.
And we had a good Seahawks
game. Which is better than, like, what they're running out there right now. Like, I'd rather have a possession Julio Jones than a possession Cody Hollister. Now, the Seahawks game was the one where he was actually healthy, and he balled in the Seahawks game. I just don't think he can get back to that level.
Which is such a shame.
Chris Sanders was talking about today. He thinks he's still hurt.
Probably so. Which is so scary because we've been playing this game with Julio throughout this entire season of put him out there for a few downs and then he goes back and he's out there and makes a couple really great catches for a first down or so. And then he's out the rest of the game. And that's just a very, very dangerous game that you're playing because a hamstring when you're 33 years old, it doesn't just heal. It doesn't just bounce back. It's going to continuously be an issue for Julio Jones. And we saw a peek behind the curtain of what he can do in week 2. And I don't think we're going to get back to that because your hamstring doesn't just fix itself.
Think about this. He had a hamstring injury last year, had the whole offseason to heal. Came out to practice, immediately hurt it. Took all that time off of training camp, came back for 2 weeks. Week 3, hurt it. Came back after a couple of weeks, hurt it. Came back after a couple weeks, went to IR. Comes back off of IR.
We'll see.
We'll see. Chris Sanders thinks he's still hurt. And he hasn't come off IR yet. He's just entered the return to practice protocol, which they get 21 days to then take him off of IR. But again, that's all semantics, and fans don't really care about that. For as much as fans care, Julio's back. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Hey, Preds fans, join us for Smashville Live tonight with special guest Jordan Tutu, hosted by Chase McCabe. The show will air on Wednesdays during the Preds season from 6 to 7, and you can watch it on 1025 The Game's Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So be sure to join us for hockey season for Smashville Live, brought to you by New Amsterdam Vodka. Jason Fitz, ESPN Radio, joins us next. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 1025 The Game.
This is Phil Tomasino, and this is Smashville.
Tries to feed Tomasino in front, he scores! And the Predators win it in overtime, 3-2 the final.
This is a flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network, ESPN 1025 The Game.
Are you worried about your holiday shopping and your gift arriving in time? The Omni Nashville Hotel has a great idea for you. How about gift cards to their world-renowned Mocara Spa or Nashville's fine dining favorite, Bob's Steak and Chop House? Surprise your loved ones and friends with this special gift idea and take out the hustle and bustle of fighting traffic and long lines this holiday season. Simply go to OmniNashvilleHotel.com to purchase your gift cards. That's OmniNashvilleHotel.com for gift cards to Mocara Spa or Bob's Steak and Chop House.
This holiday season, head into Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest gifts from TaylorMade and Bushnell, featuring the P790 irons with speed foam air technology and tungsten weighting to give you more distance. And don't miss these hot gifts from Bushnell, like the Tour V5 and the Tour V5 Shift with pin seeker technology, or the Wingman with Bluetooth and audible GPS for distance. Edwin Watts Golf Shops is home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, or shop us online for the holidays at worldwidegolfshops.com.
It's the 12 days of Christmas at Genesis Diamonds with the best gift ever. 5 years, 0 interest financing. That's right. For the first 12 days of December, you get the unbeatable Genesis value price, plus 0 interest financing for 5 years with nothing down. Shop early for Christmas and get that $5,000 pair of diamond stud earrings for just $84 a month. Or that $6,000 diamond eternity band, just $100 a month. Our showcases are stocked with the best holiday gifts, rings, rings, earrings, pendants, bands, colored gemstone jewelry, unique handcrafted one-of-a-kind gifts that are sure to be the headliner gift at your house this Christmas. And now through December 12th, everything's affordable with 5 years, 0 interest financing. How about splurging on a $10,000 tennis bracelet and paying just $167 a month? Don't miss this special finance offer now through December 12th. Merry Christmas from Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit, see store for details.
Bank of England Mortgage has been helping Americans live the dream of home ownership for over 100 years. Since their humble beginnings in England, Arkansas in 1898, they've grown into a nationwide mortgage lender with 141 offices across 45 states, including 3 convenient locations right here in Middle Tennessee. Find out more at BOE1214.com. Bank of England Mortgage is a division of Bank of England Mortgage. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, NMLS 418-481.
Hey, Darren McFarland here, and I want to talk to you about my friends at Creation CBD. You hear me talk about them every single day because they present Darren, Donick, and Chase, and we are proud to be associated with them and happy about it. And if you have aches and pains, on your body, whether it's from working out, being active, getting older, and you're looking for a solution, well, I've got it. Creation CBD. Creation means healing, and that says a lot. Creation is locally and organically sourced CBD products right here in Middle Tennessee. From seed to final sell, Creation is passionate about providing quality products for everyday use, including your pets. And you've heard me tell this story. Our female German Shepherd has had seizures for over 3 years, and lots of them. No matter how many pills a day she was on, the vet visits, nothing changed. But since putting her on the pet tincture, everything has changed. The seizures have stopped, she's lost weight, and she's a dog again. Right now, Creation CBD has got a special offer for DDC listeners. Go to CreationCompany.com, get 25% off your order by using the code DDC25 at checkout. DDC25 at checkout for 25% off your Creation CBD products. It's Creation CBD, curated for life.
Over the middle, has a man, touchdown Tennessee, Devontae Payton.
The Tennessee Volunteers are coming to Nashville on December 30th to face Purdue in the 2021 Music City Bowl. Your official home for the TransPerfect Music City Bowl is
ESPN
1025 The Game and 93.3 Classic Hits. Brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Music City and Volunteer Hose and Gasket.
Hey Nashville, this is Gary Bettman. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025 The Game.
Boy, I'll tell you, it was exciting when the Titans were the talk of national TV. Then they lost to the Patriots, and now it is Patriots, Patriots, Patriots. I feel like I'm living in 2003 again. And the way they're throwing the football is more like 2001. Jason Fitz joins us now on the program, presented by Blood Assurance. Give blood, give local, save lives. Fitz with ESPN Radio. Fitz, I was impressed by the Patriots win the other night, but I also thought it was, I don't want to say like kind of a fluky game, but it's the kind of game that the NFL keeps out of the Super Bowl because they'll never play a Super Bowl in conditions like that. Everything's either in California or Florida or a dome stadium. The Patriots are good, and they let everybody else screw up, but I don't think they're the Patriots of old. I don't think they're the 21-in-a-row Patriots. I don't think they're the 2007 Patriots, and yet I listen to the national media talk about it, and I feel like they're already pinning in the Patriots for the Super Bowl. What do you make of it and the Titans' chances right now in an AFC?
The Patriots' love right now happening nationally is just overblown, and it's stupid. And I don't say that to be hot takey. It's just real, man. I've been able and fortunate enough to watch the Man in the Arena series. I'm part of the reaction shows to all of those Man in the Arenas. And if people aren't familiar, it's an ESPN Plus show that chronicles all the years that Brady went to the Super Bowl. And through that process, every year is a different season. And I feel like in that process, I've learned a lot about Brady and a lot in that also about Belichick. And I've gained even more respect for that. It was almost impossible to do for Belichick. And look, you want to talk about somebody that's not afraid to reinvent himself constantly, that's not afraid to make difficult decisions as a coach, that's not afraid to push people to get the best out of them. All of these things can be true. I don't care how we want to slice it up, though. Everybody's so enamored with the quarterback position that we want to make Mac Jones a star. Right now, Mac Jones is not a star. He's a game manager. And this is what we do with every single young quarterback that has any success out of the gates. We crown them immediately as the second coming of whomever without realizing that it takes years of work. It takes years of constant evolution to get to the point where we're crowning guys that they should be after 2 or 3 seasons. And that wasn't real for Brady. It's not going to be real for Justin Herbert. It hasn't been real for Baker Mayfield. Like, pick your young quarterback. It's not real. So I think what we've done is we've overblown this narrative because everybody feels like it's just the Patriots doing Patriot things again. But that's a totally different conversation when you don't have Tom Brady. I still say, if you have to ask me today to bet my entire livelihood on one team in the AFC playoffs, it's not the Patriots, because we have no proof of concept that quarterback can win when he has to in a playoff game. And that matters to me still. So I think the Titans' chances have been completely thrown under the bus because the offense hasn't looked good enough post the Derrick Henry injury, which I think we all expected. And the Titans at this point are a little like the Lakers. Like, I say that in the sense that if LeBron and AD are healthy, the Lakers are AD finalist championships. If they're not, the Lakers are barely a playoff team. Well, if the Titans have Derrick Henry, they're a Super Bowl contender. If they don't, it's going to be really difficult the way their offenses play without him for them to go very far in the playoffs.
Current odds for the number 1 seed, according to the New York Times: Patriots 47%, Titans 20%, Kansas City 13%. Fitz, of those 3 teams, who do you think is the best bet if you had to bet to make the Super Bowl?
I'm still taking the Chiefs. The funny thing is with the Chiefs, and you and I talked about it a few weeks ago, I finally said, I'm out on the Chiefs. They turn the ball over too much, and all they do then is go on a run. Part of the reason the Patriots are favored for home field, which is going to matter a lot for them, is they have the Jags and the Dolphins left on their schedule. That's a pretty easy path. They've got a couple other tougher games, but those 2 games are really going to be helpful. And I know we want to say if it goes through Foxborough, that's impossible. I just don't know that I buy that. So, we're not talking about West Coast teams having to go east to play in that. So I like the Chiefs in that situation. Who was the other? You said the Patriots, the Chiefs, and who's the third one? I'm blanking.
Titans.
Yeah. Well, no, look, again, like I want
get Derek back, and then we can talk.
I want the Titans. Let me be clear. I would love to see the Titans go to the Super Bowl, which they can do if they have Derrick Henry. And if they don't, they can't, in my mind. So, it's funny. The only way that Mac Jones and the Patriots make it to the Super Bowl, in my mind, is if everybody else finds a way to step on their own you-know-whats in the process.
So I think that's the Patriots' way, like right now, is I think the Patriots, Jason Fitz, our guest, I think the Patriots just wait, in both in games and in the season, they just wait for everybody else to mess up. Like how they beat the Titans. Titans fumbled the football, couldn't get lined up on a punt. That's how they beat the Titans. Titans had a bad play call at the goal line. I mean, you make the mistakes, they just let you make them. And how do the Patriots have the number 1 seed? Because the Titans lost to the Texans, because the Bills lost to the Jags, because the Chiefs went for 2 months with their heads stuck up their rear ends. And now the Patriots have the number 1 seed because the Ravens can't complete a pass on a 2-point conversion. And that's why New England has the number 1 seed. They just wait for you to make mistakes. Here's what's crazy, though, Fitz. I look at the AFC playoffs, and I think the number 1 seed's huge because I think that first weekend, you're going to get teams that we would consider contenders in the AFC that'll play in the first round, like Tennessee, Kansas City, maybe Baltimore, Buffalo. They'll all play in the first, and then you'll have like the Chargers and the Bengals or the Steelers or those teams that are kind of down towards the bottom. One of those teams, like the Bengals or the Steelers, is beating one of those other teams in the first round of the playoffs. And if you're the Patriots, you get to avoid that. So let's say it's Kansas City. Let's say Kansas City gets knocked out by Buffalo in the first round of the playoffs. Now you don't have to play Patrick Mahomes, and you get to play the team that beat Patrick Mahomes, which is not as good as, say, like a Baltimore with a Lamar Jackson or a Tennessee. And that's why I think the Patriots, if they have a chance, it is because the road for them to get to the Super Bowl may be easier. That's why I think the number 1 seed's so big, Fitz.
Well, I'll say I think the number 1 seed's so big for certain teams because it's the only seed that gets the bye for getting healthy, right? Like you mentioned the Ravens.
Derrick Henry.
The Ravens, the Titans, the Ravens are 2 teams that absolutely need to get hit. They need the opportunity to get healthy. The Chiefs and the Chargers and the Bengals and the Bills are the rest of our AFC lineup, right? And those are teams, I'll take the Bengals out of it. I think they've fallen back a little bit, but those are teams that, my God, one week look like you can beat anybody, and the next week look absolutely incapable of playing, much like on a much lower level. I've said repeatedly, the most frustrating year I've ever watched as a Raiders fan. One week the offense is great, the next week they don't even know how to get a first down. But that's sort of a microcosm of what the entire AFC has been. So to your point, yeah, maybe their benefactors of chaos. I I can see that portion come through. But your conversation, it's a very real one. They wait for teams to screw up. That's kind of like what Iowa did all year in the college football season. And it got them to number 2 at one point because everybody screwed up. What happens eventually is either you play the law of averages, a team that just doesn't make mistakes that one day, or you play a team that, I don't know, is actually disciplined with the football. And so, I look at a team like the Ravens and say, okay, the Ravens, as decimated as they've been, like we keep talking about Belichick Coach of the Year for winning that one game in the snow. How about Coach of the Year for the guy that's lost starters at every valuable position and had to rework their entire offense to try and work around the deficiencies? I mean, what they're doing in Baltimore is special considering how beat up and banged up they've been since the opening day of the season. So, I think there's a little bit of a purveyor of chaos here. Presumes that somebody's going to make mistakes. The Patriots will be fine if somebody does that. If they don't, they're a very beatable football team.
Fitz, just looking at Mike Tannenbaum, who is a Ryan Tannehill apologist because he was his general manager in Miami, and one of the first people at ESPN to say, hey, Tannehill is getting the job over Mariota. He's got his quarterback rankings out. He has Tannehill 17th behind Carson Wentz, Tua Tagovailoa, Kirk Cousins. Tannehill's in the ballpark with Taylor Heineke and Jalen Hurts. How concerned should we be about Tannehill?
Well, I'm concerned about those rankings. Mike, you're right. Like, I'll go back to Tannenbaum, Field Yates, and Jeff Darlington are 3 people that right out of the gates, the minute the Titans acquired Tannehill, told me when I was on the morning show at the time, he's going to be the starter. And Field and Tannenbaum were the 2 that right out of the gate said not only is he going to be the starter, but if he's healthy, he can be very, very good. So, I'm kind of stunned to hear that. And, part of that, I realize that we're going to turn around and say, well, Tannehill has to play better when he doesn't have Derrick Henry. The problem with all of that comes back to so much of the concept of play action passing for the Titans, right? And so if nobody's respecting play action and it's not really working for you, now all of a sudden the way you built your offense just doesn't click the same way. So, I'm surprised. I'm just totally surprised that the Titans haven't been able to put up chunk yards and they haven't been able to do what I thought they would do even without Derrick Henry. As much as I want to say, okay, maybe Tannehill hasn't played great, I have a hard time putting Carson Wentz. Tua Tagovailoa has looked absolutely lost in football games at times this year. So, while Tannehill may not have stepped up, I genuinely believe that Tua has lost the Dolphins multiple football games this year. So that to me seems really hot-takey.
Jason Fitz, as always, presented by Blood Assurance. Give blood, give local, save lives. Fitzy, appreciate you as always. We'll talk soon.
You're the best. Hope you had a great holiday, brother.
Yep, you too. Jason Fitz joining us on the program. Boy, I told you when Tannenbaum said Tannehill stinking it up like that, puts him 17th with Taylor Heineke, Jalen Hurts, that's when you should get a little worried.
Do you think that's a little bit of, tough love coming from Tannenbaum? Nope. Like, it's like, you were my guy?
Nope. I think it's, dude, I want to vote you higher, but I think you're stinking it up right now. Which is unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
But that's the reality. Coming up next, our local media. They are so into something, and I am convinced that you are not. I'll explain next. Stillman & Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game. Let me tell everybody right now, though, while I have your attention, your undivided attention, let me tell everybody that you can join ESPN The Game Nashville and Newton Motor Group as we team up this holiday season to help children in Middle Tennessee with Souls for Music City. More than 4,000 children in the metro area experience homelessness and over 18,000 in Middle Tennessee. And The Game and Cromwell Media are teaming up with Souls for Souls to provide a new pair of shoes to these children who are experiencing homelessness. Souls for Souls works with our schools and community partners to deliver new shoes to kids who need them. Newton Motor Group will be making a donation to Souls for Souls for every test drive at any of Newton Motor Group's 4 locations through the end of the year. We need your help to give these kids the joy and confidence that they deserve. More information and to donate, go to theGameNashville.com/shoes.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Mainly clear skies heading into the overnight. Temperatures around the freezing mark for early Thursday morning. Warming to the low 60s with sunshine for Thursday. Gearing up for thunderstorms, some severe Friday night into Saturday. I'm Fox 17 Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the happy face truck today.
Forecast? Quality candidates ahead. Indeed skills tests help you find the right hire faster. Screen for skills your job requires. Hiring becomes a breeze. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
WWE returns to Nashville with Friday Night SmackDown, January 21st at Bridgestone Arena. You'll see Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura with Rick Boogs as he battles Universal Champion Roman Reigns.
What's off with the fists?
Then, Sasha Banks challenges Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's Championship, plus much more. Tickets start at $20. Available 10 a.m. this Friday at Ticketmaster. Ringsider package is available.
Saturday means college football, so put on your game face, then grab an ice-cold Dos Equis. Dos Equis tastes light, finishes clean, and will never let you down. Like a friend that defected to your rival team. Pick up a pack wherever you buy beer, and not nearly enough snacks. Dos Equis, a proud sponsor of college football. Get a dose. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2021. Imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
It's the official Bud Light Preds watch party as the Nashville Predators take on the New York Rangers this Sunday. The puck drops at 6, but the party starts at 5:30 with all kinds of specials. See you at Headquarters Beercade, downtown Nashville on 2nd Avenue. Go Preds!
Music City Man Cave Luxury Men's Grooming is not your everyday nail salon. They specialize in custom hand and foot treatments for men only. As Nashville's first and only all-male hand and foot spa, they curate healthy, solution-oriented manicures and pedicures designed especially for men. From their comfortable environment, aromas, and overall focus on your self-care, everything is designed to make men feel comfortable. Book your appointment today by calling 615-975-2201 or online at musiccitymancave.com. Refining the confidence in men. Luxury grooming. Man cave feeling.
Signs First is the official sign company for 1025 The Game. Go to sfnash.com.
Hey, it's Jared for TriStar Moving. If you're looking to move, you need to give my friends at TriStar Moving a call. At TriStar Moving, you'll get 5-star service throughout the entire process. Everything will be taken care of, from covering your floors, banisters, railings, front door thresholds, furniture, TVs, and more. They took great care of my move and made it as stress-free as possible. If you're looking to move, give TriStar Moving a call, 615-640-1219, or visit them at nashvillemoving.org/radio and get 5% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
It's not magic that we'll deliver 1 billion packages to homes across the country this holiday. It's the United States Postal Service. And we don't need a team of reindeer to do it, because we've added more vehicles to our fleet. And while we don't employ a legion of elves, we have hired thousands of new members for our team. So if making more holiday deliveries to homes in the U.S. than anyone else seems like magic, that means we're doing our job. Share the magic at USPS.com/helpers.
Do great prices and selection on trucks and SUVs still exist? They do in Truckville. Sarah Chevrolet Buick GMC of Nashville has the largest selection in Tennessee. And we keep getting fresh stock on our lots every day. We're committed to offering you our best price and a 5-star experience, which is why we're still known as the destination for trucks and SUVs. Come visit Truckville, Tennessee today in person or online at sarahnashville.com.
Stanley.
That size and that speed just doesn't grow on trees. That can be something that you can really turn into.
Joe Rexrode.
Just hold out and somebody will call in the bad signal.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10. Presented by Volunteer State Bank on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You're listening to Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Jared versus Joe in 10 minutes. Joe Rexrode will join us, and I got a bone to pick with Joe.
What now?
But it's not just Joe. It's the entire local Nashville sports media. So last night, I went to a birthday party.
Was it fun?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, so I went to a little birthday party.
Happy birthday.
Blew out some candles, gave some gifts. I thought my gift was great. But so anywho.
Of course you did.
So anywho, went to this birthday party last night. And then I'll come home, and I'm like, Preds game, I think, was over by the time I got home. And I was thinking, I'll watch maybe Man in the Arena, whatever. I'm looking at my phone. And the local media was just talking college basketball, like at length. Like, oh, man, this Vols game is so bad. This Vols game that –
the Vols game was astonishingly bad.
I'm here to tell you right now.
We don't care.
We do not care.
We don't care.
We don't care. Like, we do not care. And I'm sitting here listening, like, everybody I follow in the Nashville media is talking about college basketball yesterday. And I'm literally like, nobody in November cares about college basketball. Now, here's the thing. I know someone's going to text in and say, I care about college basketball. Okay, all right. I could sit here and say, like, nobody cares about high school volleyball right now, and somebody will text in that they care, like the Tullahoma High School, whatever. Like,
and I'm sure they're wonderful.
But, like, nobody cares about college basketball. And I don't know, like, I don't understand how, I don't get it. Because it's one thing for, like, the people that have been here for forever, right? That have been here, since I was a kid, like Willie and Darren, and those guys were on the air when I was a kid. Because when I was a kid, college basketball this time of year, it mattered. But it doesn't matter now. It doesn't even come close to remotely mattering. But it's new people, like Joe and others.
Well, Joe loves basketball.
I know, but still, like,
he's basketball Joe.
I know, but like, just give it a rest a little bit. Like, just talk about what the people care about. Like, here's the thing about me. I immerse myself in whatever the audience cares about naturally. Like, it's not like I decide, okay, now I'm going to care about this because the audience cares about it. I just naturally care about it if the audience cares about it. It's been that way my whole life on the radio, which has been about a decade now. And I'd like to say, without sounding arrogant, but all the results seem to keep coming in, and it seems like I'm kind of right. Fair?
Fair.
Okay. So I get all the data, and I know, because I'm a Nashville sports fan, because I'm from Nashville. And this is the one thing that, like, if I were hiring, like, talk radio shows or things of that magnitude, one thing I'd think about, which I don't think that a lot of people do, is I would want people who are, like, fans of the Titans and the Predators to be on the radio here. Like, because it's a lot easier. The one thing I always thought that, like, Jared and the GM, it was obvious, like, how much we cared about the Titans and Predators. And I think that's why our show took off in the way that it did, was because people knew that we cared as much as they did. And I think that's a big thing. I'm a Nashville guy. I can tell you people here don't care. They do not care. So last night I'm flipping around, and because every single person I follow in the local media happens to love college basketball or think that you care about college basketball, they're like, Vandy going to OT. So I just, put on, you got ESPN Plus, put on ESPN Plus. The crowd at the Vandy game literally looked like this time last year. Like socially distanced seats. But I don't think they're trying for socially distanced seats. I think they just happen to have socially distanced fans because there's nobody there. And I'm listening to Joe on Twitter. Belmont against St. Louis. We do not care.
Go Billikens.
And I am convinced that the local media doesn't understand this. Like, sometimes I think it's like people don't care. Like, Joe doesn't care if the fans don't care. But I think everybody else that was talking about
cares.
No, I mean, like, Joe's not going to spend 4 hours in the morning talking about college basketball if people don't care. But, like, if nobody cares about the Belmont-St. Louis game last night, Joe doesn't care on Twitter that nobody cares. You know what I mean?
I understand what you're saying. I just don't agree with you. But I understand what you're saying.
Oh, he knows nobody cares about that. We'll ask him.
You can ask him.
We'll ask him. But it's one thing for that. Like, where nobody cares and you're going to talk about it anyways. Like, I'll talk about Louisville basketball on Twitter. I know that nobody here cares, but I care. But I'm not going to talk about
how Joe feels.
I'm not going to talk about Louisville basketball in the air. But for everybody else that's like breaking down college basketball on December 7th, guys, get with the picture. I get all the data. In 2018, Jared and the GM, that was the year where Jared and the GM honestly blew up. Like, we knew it was going to work. 2016 was our first year. Like, the end of 2016 was when we started. 2017 was our first full year. It's really nice in your first full year of doing a radio show that the flagship team that you cover goes to the championship, which is what happened with the Predators. It was very nice. The next year was the year that we knew that we were going to make it in 2017. 2018 was when we knew that we were really, really good. And it was because we would get all the data. And where everybody else would talk college basketball because they've always talked college basketball, and we talked college basketball that first year, all the data was telling us, talk Preds, don't talk college basketball. So we were like, okay, fine. So we just didn't talk any college basketball 2018. I can't even remember what happened in 2018. I think Villanova won the championship. I barely remember. I think that was Sister Jean. We barely talked any of it. One of our best years, probably our best spring ever. And we didn't talk about it. And that's because we're a pro sports town now. And so when you're a pro sports town, the only way that something that is niche, like college basketball, matters to the overall fan base is if something wild is happening. Like when the Vols were number 1 in 2019. But on December 7th, and these teams aren't even ranked, and in the case of Vandy, they're not even good, and they haven't been good in forever, I'm here to tell you right now, bless you.
Thank you.
We do not care. And I know you all don't care either. It's a pro sports town now, folks. And so just to the media, guys, can we please lay off the college basketball? Can we please lay off of it? And here's what's crazy. I sent out a tweet yesterday about nobody cares about the college basketball games. And Joe was like, we should limit your tweeting. And I told him, I said, you talking about this tweet tomorrow would be more interesting to the people than actually talking about these college basketball
I did see
games.
that.
And that's true. And you know that that's true.
You can talk to Joe about it.
You know it's true.
You can talk to Joe about it. I'm with you on December 8th. College basketball is not necessarily what I'm interested in. I'm an LSU fan. I went to LSU. I've watched very few LSU basketball games because right now it's just not what's relevant.
No. Joe will join us next for Jared versus Joe. Invigorate Health. They have semaglutide. What's semaglutide, you ask? Well, it's exclusively carried at Invigorate Health online at invigoratehealthtn.com. Semaglutide is the breakthrough in weight loss. If you have been looking to shed pounds and you are trying to curb your appetite and yet to no avail no matter what you've tried or how hard you've tried, semaglutide is here to help. It has been FDA approved. It's a drug that's been around for years for diabetic patients. It's now available for weight loss. And Invigorate Health is the exclusive provider of semaglutide in the Middle Tennessee area. So give it a try. If you have tried hard and for years to lose that weight and you can't, semaglutide may be your way out. I've talked to my friends who are internists. They swear by semaglutide. My doctor, primary care doctor, I asked her, what do you think about semaglutide? She said it's a great drug. My cousins are pharmacists. They say it's the real deal. And the people at Invigorate Health use semaglutide. They can tell you all about it. That's invigoratehealthtn.com for semaglutide, your key to weight loss today.
The voice of reason.
274 yards, 2 interceptions, 0 touchdowns. You're not going to win a game that way.
The voice of the fan.
I'm tired of let's just give it to a quarterback.
The voice of Nashville sports is your home of Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Their first ever tour together. OAR. And Dispatch. Summer Tour 2022. Saturday, August 6th at Ascend Amphitheater. Special guest Robert Randolph Band. Tickets on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. OAR and Dispatch, part of the Journeys concert series.
Do great prices and selection on trucks and SUVs still exist? They do in Truckville. Sarah Chevrolet Buick GMC of Nashville has the largest selection in Tennessee. And we keep getting fresh stock on our lots every day. We're committed to offering you our best price and a 5-star experience, which is why we're still known as the destination for trucks and SUVs. Come visit Truckville, Tennessee today in person or online at sarahnashville.com.
Yo, this is Justin from Music Vintage. We're here to provide you with all your vintage apparel needs. Tons of great shoes and memorabilia from your past. We're located in the heart of East Nashville at 2503 Gallatin Avenue, where we do buy, sell, and trade. Got some clothes your stepdad gave you in the 90s? Found some dope clothes in your granddad's closet? Bring it by, we'll give you a cash offer. Found some at a thrift store and don't know where to sell it? Bring it by, we'll give you a cash offer. Got some new Jordans that don't quite fit well? Bring it by and we'll give you a cash offer. Music City Vintage, here to provide you with all your vintage shoe needs. See y'all soon, Nashville.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So it's about that time for an oil change? We've got what you need. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Castrol Edge Full Synthetic or Full Synthetic High Mileage and an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for just $31.99. And you can get it all fast, your way. Just order online with our free same-day store pickup or next-day delivery. Start your job today at AutoZone.com. Restrictions apply.
If the Oral-B IO electric toothbrush had a theme song, this would be it.
I think you're gonna wanna see this.
Only IO combines Oral-B's dentist-inspired round brush head with gentle micro-vibrations for a brushing experience even dentists have hailed as literally the best brush I've ever used. Get the wow of a professional clean feel every day with the IO from Oral-B, the #1 brand used by dentists.
You're gonna see what everybody's talking about.
Oral-B, brush like a pro.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at theGameNashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. I turned on Robbie and Rexroad this morning, and I was stunned. I was stunned to see Joe Rexroad there because I figured he was watching so much college basketball last night that he would not be able to wake up in time. The early wake-up call for Robbie and Rexroad. But the basketball Benny himself, Joe Rexroad, is with us. Joseph, how are you?
This is I said this on the show, I'll say it here. This is just like what I tell my kids when they bicker at each other. Or you know, someone gets a good grade at school and someone says something. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything else. You're sitting at home last night. What's bothering you that people are watching college basketball? We have to sit there and say, hey, I got a Titan tank for you on Twitter. That's the only reason you can tweet on a night the basketball games are playing? Shut up. Hi, Jared.
I'm just
saying.
saying.
How are you?
I'm just saying.
In Joe's defense, I was watching college basketball last night.
Well, that's for you guys. I will say this, though. I do have something nice to say.
Do you?
Uh-huh.
That's new.
Well, Joe just talked about report cards. Joe just talked about report cards. He got a very good report card. I saw Joe's report card. Joe, congratulations on a good report card. You and Robbie both bringing home good report cards. Congratulations to you.
Okay. Is my Wi-Fi janky?
Your Wi-Fi's fine.
And if it is, okay.
But you know what?
Right, okay. I'm a little worried about it.
Joe's report card, it was good, but, you know. Time now for Jared versus Joe.
Jared Stillman versus Joe Rexroad. Now on Stillman and Company.
on ESPN
102.5 The Game.
I'm going to start docking you points if you continue to be mean.
I'm not mean.
You're being a bully.
I said congratulations to Joe.
And then you had a caveat. Every time you have something nice to say, you always got to end it with something a little snarky. First and foremost, we were having this discussion yesterday about Ryan Tannehill, about what is he, what can we expect the Titans, what can the Titans expect from him moving forward? Jared, I want you to go first. True or false, the Titans should consider drafting a quarterback in the next couple of drafts.
So, no for this upcoming draft because the commitment is too high to Tannehill. Like, I think it's like, what, a $36 million cap number next year? Even if they trade him, it's like a $36 million cap hit or 32 million, I think, is a cap hit or whatever. The cap number is too much to manage it for next year. You got to look at next year like Tannehill's still going to be here. Julio Jones is still going to be here. A.J. Brown's still going to be here. Derrick Henry's still going to be here. And even if those guys aren't any healthy, they're still going to be here. So you got to probably try to make another crack at it with this group next season. Down the road, you know, if Derrick starts to show signs of wear and tear and regression, that probably forces you to say, okay, we're going to have to reset here in the near future. my gut would tell me then you could think about it. But with this group, you're not going to have a pick that's probably good enough for you to pick one of those high-end quarterbacks anyways. And I think what's happened is the trend is instead of there really truly being 5 or 6 first-round quarterbacks in a draft, we're now putting guys that in previous drafts would have been second, third-round guys, and we're putting them into the first round before they're ready, or the second round. So I'm going to say no on kind of the immediate future and probably next year too. But I do think that the Titans probably have 1 or 2 more seasons where they can really go for it with this group with Tannehill as the quarterback. And then after that, there probably is going to be some sort of a reset that has to come.
Joe?
Yeah, I generally agree with that. I would say that, and you're right. I mean, of course, they get pushed up so much so that like a Hendon Hooker, for example, I look at him and I say, he should come back, or, he wouldn't be that high of a pick, but no, he could get pushed up into like the late second. I mean, with this class. So, but I would say maybe take a flyer like in the 3rd or 4th, like in one of the next 2, and hope that you hit on like a Kirk Cousins. Like Kirk Cousins was a 4th-round pick, rather than do like the Cole Brennan 7th-round thing. Maybe take a little bit higher flyer, so to speak, on someone and see if you can develop at least like another good backup. And who knows? I mean, it's someone. I mean, these things happen obviously at times in this league, but I think for the most part, most likely it's going to take either a bottoming out so you have a high enough pick, or you're going to have to get back into the the trade market or something like that. I mean, it's rarely painless.
But I'm not doing what San Francisco did last year. You know what I mean? Like where they forced themselves into being able to get a quarterback. I am absolutely not doing that. And I think the other part of this too, Robinson's like, I agree with Joe that if you could get a 3rd or 4th round quarterback you like and put him behind Tannehill for 2 years and then make him your starter, I could see that working out. The problem is Robinson is drafted so poorly the last 2 years. You need players with those picks because everybody else is going to get paid. AJ is going to get paid. Simmons is going to get paid. David Long's going to want to get paid. And once that starts to happen, how are you going to replace Roger Saffold? You're going to have to draft a player that's actually good in order to get in there and replace Saffold. So that's kind of the position the Titans find themselves in.
Joe, we'll go on to the next one unless you have something else to add.
Let's do it.
On to the next one. Julio will have his best game as a Titan against Jacksonville. Joe, you go first.
Well, I mean, although
So
Jared
far.
doesn't recognize that. Yeah, Jared doesn't recognize this game. He had 6 catches, 120, and he had an unbelievable TD taken away at Seattle. So I don't know that he's going to – I'll say no. I don't think he'll surpass that. And I don't know for sure that he's going to
Joe,
play
what do you mean by I don't recognize the Seattle game?
Well, I've heard you he's done nothing. He's a possession receiver, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I've heard bits and pieces that lead me to believe you don't recognize that game. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But no, I don't think he'll have his best game. I think he'll be featured though. I think if he plays, he'll immediately move to the top of the class. And it's very important that Tannehill and Julio Jones, which was happening today on the practice field, a lot, that they get as much chemistry as they can. Like when AJ Brown comes back, he and Tannehill are going to immediately, they'll have that connection. They've built that, they've earned it. They know each other well. I don't know that, Tannehill and Julio have that. And I don't think they really should yet. So, I mean, every rep, every practice and game, they're all critical so that he can be a big factor in January, which the biggest question there is still his hamstring, but so far so good this week.
So Chris Sanders today looked at the videos that you guys all posted from practice. He thinks Julio's still hurt. And I think there's probably something to that. I mean, I said this earlier today, which was Julio hurt his hamstring last year, had the whole offseason to rest it up, came out to practice, and in the first real day that he practiced, he hurt his hamstring. Then he took almost all of training camp off, came back a week before the Arizona game, and then he played in the Arizona game, and he truly healthy against Seattle where he played well, and then the next week he got hurt. Then he came back a couple weeks later, and then he got hurt. And then he came back a couple weeks later, and he got hurt, and he's on IR. The truth for me with Julio is now at this point, what you saw in the Seattle game, he's not getting back to at any point this year. And I'd be stunned if he gets back there next year and then doesn't get hurt again. But I don't think he's getting back to that at any point this year. The best you can expect from him is what you got in the Rams game, which I think was like 4 catches, and they were very possession receiver-like catches. I think that's what Julio is right now. I would be surprised if they play him a lot in the Jacksonville game. The more he plays, the closer it's probably going to be. And I have no gut feeling on how that game's going to go. But no, I don't think that hamstring is prepared for him to do what he did against Seattle. And I think the reality here is it's going to get hurt again. It's just a matter of when. And can the Titans get enough guys back by the time that thing gets hurt again that they're in an okay spot? Or can they get lucky enough that by the time it gets hurt again, they're already in the number 2 seed or the number 1 seed or something like that? But I think it's inevitable he'll get hurt again down the road. But no, he's not going to be able to do what he did against Seattle because he's still hurt.
On to the next one. Jared, you go first. The Patriots are the best team in the AFC.
That's tough. I just don't think that they can win 3. Now, it looks like they're only going to have to win 2 to get to the Super Bowl because they're going to be the number 1 seed. So their road to the Super Bowl, I'm going to guess, is probably going to look something like the Chargers at home and then the Chiefs at home, or the Titans at home and then the Chiefs at home, or something like that. And I would take, if they were to play today, I would take Kansas City and Foxborough. Now, weather's the great equalizer, and we saw Bill use that to his advantage on Monday night. But that game was right down to the wire. The one thing the Patriots keep doing is they keep taking advantage of everybody else's mistakes. So you've got 2 choices. Either you be a team that can afford to make mistakes, like a team that scores 40 points and has a quarterback capable of throwing for 400 yards, or you have a team that has a guy that can erase all the mistakes like Derrick Henry can do if you hand him the ball 32 times. I don't know if Derrick's going to be able to do that against the Patriots. I think I would take the Patriots in a rematch match in Foxborough if they were to meet in the playoffs, but I think I'd take Kansas City. I'll say right now in my heart, Kansas City's the team to beat because I don't think Mac Jones can throw with Patrick Mahomes, and I don't think Bill wants Mac Jones to try to throw with Patrick Mahomes.
They're not the best team. And in fact, look, I agree with you. They let the Bills make mistakes, and I give them all the credit in the world for what they did.
And they let the Titans make mistakes.
Yeah, they let the Titans, 2 running backs who they had to sign off the street, make mistakes. I mean, yes. I would disagree with you on a Titans rematch. If you give me the Titans roster with Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown and David Long and a healthy Harold Landry, and again, these are a lot of ifs, but if you give me the full or close to full throttle Titans, I'll take them in any stadium over the New England Patriots and that rookie quarterback. I think it's a great story.
Joe, I'm going to give you Derrick Henry, and I'm going to give you David Long Jr. Would you take the Titans in Foxborough?
And neither receiver?
Neither receiver. And not Bud Dupree.
Okay. No. I mean, you got to give me more than that. I mean, neither receiver, man. That's pretty tough. That's pretty tough.
My problem, because I think Bud Dupree is the second most valuable guy that's hurt behind Derrick. And my thing with that is Julio's always hurt. AJ's always hurt. Bud Dupree's always hurt. I can't count on those guys to come back and stay healthy, whereas I feel like you could do that with Long Jr. or Henry if and when those guys come back.
Okay. Well, regardless, I think the Titans would have a chance to beat them. But look, the Bills. Look, the Patriots took advantage of crazy conditions. The Bills, I think, are better than the Patriots. And I think the Bills are going to go to Foxborough and they're going to beat them. That's fine. Oh my God, all you want. This Patriots, fascination. Like, I get it. They're on a winning streak, mostly against bad teams or against incredibly beat up teams. Or look, they took advantage of a fortuitous weather bounce. They are not a serious contender for the Super Bowl.
Joe, the Buffalo Bills, like really, the Bills. They've got to
figure it out.
That coach, what he said after the game the other day, I said, oh, boy, Belichick. Belichick is going to stick it up his keister in 2 weeks the way that he was talking after the game, because that's how the Patriots operate. McDermott should have done the exact opposite and talked about how great the Patriots were. But the problem with the Bills is they can't stop the run. And they can't stop the run when they know the other team's running it, because everybody in New England was running it yesterday and that they weren't going to throw the ball and they couldn't stop it. They gave up a 65-yard touchdown. When they came in here, everybody knew the Titans were going to run the ball, and they couldn't stop it. And if you can't stop the run, and you know I'm running it, and you still can't stop it, you can't play in December, especially when you play in Buffalo. I am out on the Buffalo Bills. I still like the quarterback, but I am out. And I was a Bills believer last year. I thought they were going to Kansas City to beat the Chiefs. And I am out on the Bills. I think they are pretenders. And the fact that you think the Bills are going to go into Foxborough and win, I find to be laughable. And that game was really close the other day. But I just think that I think that Buffalo has motivated New England too much after the way that they handled that loss. I think the Bills are, mentally a cut below what you got to be in order to win in Foxborough.
Well, we'll see. We can put a wager on the rematch. But my top two teams are, I agree on the Chiefs. It's sort of like the asterisk Titans. It would be my second team. But again, it's just so hard right now. I mean, I'm assuming more health than you are. Yeah, those guys are hurt all the time. Bud Dupree's coming off an ACL. A.J. Brown. I think both of those guys coming back and being able to be there down the stretch, I don't think that's a stretch. And if that's the case, then I've got them as my second team. But the Patriots are somewhere in the wash there with the Bengals and with the Colts. Let's see what happens when the Patriots play the Colts.
Oh my God!
Oh my God! You're
oh my God, Joe Rexra with the Bengals. Oh, did we lose Joe?
He's frozen.
Oh, Joe.
And at the worst time, too.
Joe. The Bengals?
Oh, he's back.
The Bengals. Like, we're talking about.
Amazing.
I'm looking at the Tennessee Titans. The quarterback of the Tennessee Titans leads the NFL in interceptions, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So you're going to go into Foxborough against Bill Belichick. God. And this Patriot defense, which I will contend is better than the Patriot defense 2 years ago. Fair?
The Patriots defense that just let Dontrell Hilliard and Deontay Foreman run for 270? That same defense, Jared? Okay.
Yes. That defense is better with Matthew Judon and with J.C. Jackson playing at the levels. They're a better defense.
It's a good defense.
That defense, you're going to go in there with Ryan Tannehill throwing the ball to the other team, and you're going to go to Foxborough, and this time you're going to make your extra points, and you're going to make your field goals, and you're going to get lined up on your points, and you're going to be able to hold on the football because you got Derrick Henry, and you're going to beat the New England Patriots right now the way they're playing with Ryan Tannehill, who is reckless with the football.
The big flaw, and look, you're not alone, so I'll give you credit. You're in the groupthink with a lot of NFL media, like this fascination with the Patriots, like they've done something so amazing here. It's a nice story. They're going to be a playoff team. They might get the 1 seed. I suspect they've got a couple losses ahead of them, and I would actually pick the Chiefs to sneak in there and get the 1. But regardless, they are not that good. They're a good team. They are not going to make a run to Los Angeles with Mac Jones at quarterback this year. And I will put that down on paper for you.
I have believed that since the Titans played him. I said, look, Kansas City, you put Mahomes against that kid, he can't beat him. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, to say that the Patriots are with the Bengals, I mean, that's just disrespectful.
I don't know what hey, Jared, if you watch the Bengals, they're on the odd week, they're the 1 seed. And then the next week, they're like the 11. I mean, that's the AFC this year. Look, the Browns are still an incredibly talented team. A team that came in here, basically the same team, came in here and thumped these guys. And it was a blowout by midway through the second quarter. The AFC is completely up in the air. I just know that this idea that the Patriots are somehow in a class of their own is totally flawed.
I don't think they're in a class of their own. I don't. But I do think they're in the top tier of the AFC. And where the Titans sit right now, with Derrick Henry out and with Bud Dupree out, I feel okay about putting the Titans with the Bengals and the Chargers. The Patriots just won 7 in a row. And I understand they have a rookie quarterback. I understand they just barely beat Buffalo. I understand that they let the Titans practice squad running backs run all over them. But I can't put them with the Colts. I don't think that's fair.
You guys hate the Colts. I mean, the Colts are good, guys. Well, look at how they've played. I mean, they blew the Tampa Bay game, but they were controlling that game. I think Jared's Colts hatred and Wentz hatred is way overboard.
I thought the Colts looked great this week against the Texans.
And the Colts looked great against the Bills. A team that I still think is a
That's my point why I think
contender.
the Bills stink. You know, Joe's a Bills. That's what I'm saying.
Right. But again,
I still think they're a contender. I'm with you, Joe.
You can find any result in this year, this conference, you can find any result to justify what you want to believe to be true.
How many good teams? And I'll give you Buffalo, but I think Buffalo is clearly trending on the downward slope. How many good teams have the Indianapolis Colts beat this year? I mean, seriously.
I don't have their results in front of me. I mean,
all their wins are like the Dolphins and the Jaguars and the Texans and they didn't beat the Rams, they didn't beat the Titans, they didn't beat the Ravens, they didn't beat the Buccaneers.
Well, they blew the game. They blew the game at Baltimore. They went in and beat the Bills by 25 on the road.
Which I'm giving you.
Look,
I'll give you that one.
Early in the year, they were not good. I mean, they were banging. Carson Wentz came in here and he
That's
couldn't
because they were
move
playing
in the
good
pocket.
teams. It's because they're playing good teams. Is why they had a brutal schedule. Have they beaten anybody good except for Buffalo?
They beat the 49ers, if you want to call them good or not. They beat the Bills. And that's really it. I mean, they beat the Jags, the Texans, the Dolphins. They played it close with the Rams.
Picture.
They played it close with the Rams and lost by 6 points to the Ravens. They have the Patriots and the Cardinals coming up in back-to-back weeks, so we're about to find out.
Thoughts and prayers to the Indianapolis Colts. What's next?
They are going to beat the Patriots' butts next Saturday. Put that one down, too.
I don't know who I want to go first for this one because I know it's going to be a doozy. I'll just say, Jared, you go first because I want Joe to defend himself. Belmont basketball wins last night. Scottie Pippen Jr. lands on SportsCenter with a three-pointer highlight last night. The Vols lose a gross game at MSG against Texas Tech last night. Does anyone in Nashville care? Jared, you go.
No, they do not. And let me say this. When you ask the question, anybody, Joe can find somebody that'll text into the text line that's probably like a parent of a kid. Might be Scottie Pippen Sr. and might say, I care, but the reality is nobody cares. I actually put on the Vandy game last night in overtime just to see if Jerry Stackhouse was going to finally win a basketball game for the first time in 3 years. Joe tries to write a nice piece for Jerry Stackhouse last year, and Jerry accuses Joe of doctoring his words, and still nobody cared. But so anywho, I'm looking at the crowd, and it looked like a bubble. It was like Vandy and Temple playing in the bubble last night because nobody's going to these games because nobody cares. And the Vol basketball, if they get back to number one, maybe people in Nashville will care. But the real story with the Vols is about how little the Vols, even Vol football, truly matters in Nashville right now. And I think I'm pretty good authority on this because I'm from here and because my report cards have been pretty good at figuring out what people want to talk about. And no, nobody cares about a Belmont St. Louis game. They do not care. This is a pro sports town. Joe, you were in Detroit recently, and I know that people there care about pro sports and they care about Michigan football and stuff like that, but you can't tell me that they care about Oakland basketball or was it Detroit Mercy? That they care about that. I'm sorry. Pro sports town, we're bigger than that. We do not care in December about college basketball, especially when the local teams are not any good and are not any interesting. No, they don't care.
First of all, I told you about anywho. It's ridiculous. Also, so if you write a feature on someone, that's writing a story for them. I mean, that's just a bunch of BS coming out of your mouth, and you know it.
I just love to say that because you get so mad every time.
I know, but it's kind of BS.
It's kind of true though, but
yeah, it's kind of BS. Here's the thing, Jared. That's fine if we want to compare, like if the local NFL team is playing at the same time as a college basketball game, then I would absolutely expect way more interest in the NFL game. Again, it's a random Tuesday. Yes, there are people who care. And I can find you any kind of forum where you talk to listeners or readers that people follow these. Do they follow the same numbers as the NFL? No. I would guess probably more people watching the Preds last night than the Vols, but you know what? I don't know. Can we find this out? I'd like to find this information out. I promise you, a lot of people were watching the Vols in the Jimmy V Classic on ESPN. Yes, they were. Are a lot of people latch on March? Sure. There's also a lot of people who care about college basketball now. I mean, it's just, and for you to get like upset because people are tweeting or talking about something on a Tuesday night. Again, what are we supposed to do? Are we, we talked about what the injury report might look like tomorrow for 4 hours. You want to talk about that a little bit more?
Yes, because that's what people care about, Joe. That's what they care about.
Well, you keep tweeting about the Louisville AD search because a lot of people give a
crap
about
that. But I know
that.
people here. That tweet's got a lot of, but I know people in Nashville don't care about it. I know they don't care about it. And I'm willing to admit it that I'm tweeting it because I care about it. You tweeting about college basketball is because you are a basketball Benny, not because the people who, not for the people that you work for, like the people, the fans, not because they care. That's my whole point.
I don't know. Maybe the mentions are all, they're all burner accounts for coaches hoping that we can whip up some interest. I feel like I talk to people every time. Who are these people, Jared?
I don't know. Anybody who says that they like me.
Exist? I think they do.
Anybody who says that they like me more than they like you accuse of being a burner account for me.
Well, that one guy is definitely your burner. Don't lie.
Which one?
What's
the one
his
on
name?
Twitter?
I forget his name, but yes, that's either you or a relative. It has to be.
I have no idea who that is. They like Vandy, so it can't be me. But I'm just saying, Joe, nobody cares about that Vol basketball game last night. And I was afraid
it's objectively untrue. It's objectively untrue.
Robbie and Rexha this morning, I was so afraid I was going to get like breakdowns of, well, then last night Vescovi had the ball in the corner and he passed it off to Josiah Jordan James.
There you go.
And then he passed it back to Fulkerson, who took a shot. Get back to the Titans injury report.
Yeah, that's fine. In March, you should. I think Jared should be banned from talking about basketball in March.
Hey,
how about that?
In March, what happened last March was one of us said Oregon State was going to beat Tennessee. And one of us mocked the other one on their radio show for tweeting that out. And then one of us said that Wayne Tinkle, who got to the Elite Eight last year and actually wins in March, is a better coach than Rick Barnes. And one of us made fun of me for that. And then Oregon State smoked Tennessee. That's what I know.
Did you say that because you actually thought Oregon State was going to beat Tennessee, or did you say that because you just hate Tennessee?
No, I said it because I have no faith in Rick Barnes in March, and because I know Wayne Tinkle's daughter, and she knows the game, so he must have been the one who taught her.
That's your expert insight?
Sure.
How's Greg Schiano doing, buddy? How's Greg Schiano? Good year, huh?
Doing better than Jeremy Pruitt. That much I can.
Is he doing better than PJ Fleck? Is he doing better than PJ Fleck? He's doing better.
He wasn't up for the job. PJ Fleck was up.
Row the boat, Jared.
Who wins, Caroline?
So both of you had pretty bad takes. Joe,
the Bengals,
the Patriots with the Bengals and the Colts. Like, I hear you. The Colts are playing better as of late, and the Bengals can be kind of wishy-washy, but the Patriots are in that top tier of the AFC. They're with the Chiefs. Jared, just because you don't care doesn't mean other people don't. And I think this applies to more than just college basketball. People last night, if people care about basketball, I personally don't care about basketball as much as I care about football. But just because that's my opinion doesn't mean that nobody else out there would rather watch, look at the injury reports rather than college basketball. There are people out there that care. I happened to watch the Vols basketball game last night because it was what was on, and the people that I was with were interested in that game. So people care.
So who wins?
Joe, you win.
Oh, my God. Okay. So I was saving this until you made your ruling.
Okay.
I love the fact, and I love you, and I love you too, Joe. I love the fact that, the recent information that the three of us are all privy to has come out, which I think says pretty well that I have a pretty good idea what people want to talk about.
Okay.
And it's been that way for years and years and years, for the most part, whatever. And you've been here less than a year, and you're telling me what people care about?
I mean, the fact that people care about college basketball?
They do
I don't think that's a hot take.
On December 7th, they do not care. And I remember when Vandy basketball
You're 100%
was like
right, Caroline.
10 times hotter than the Predators in Nashville. I remember what that was like. I was at the game when Tennessee was number 1 and Vanderbilt beat them, and it was electric. And it was the number one thing in this town. And now, if I start talking about college basketball, if I were to do what I know Joe wants to do in his heart, which is talk about how big that Belmont won last night, right?
Yes.
Okay, talk about how big that Belmont win over St. Louis was last night. I can just hear the radios click. And I don't.
Hey, Jared. On the
Joe.
text line, someone points out that the Battle of Boulevard was completely full at Curb Event Center last week. What do you have to say about that? Wake up, Jared.
How
Good-
many people?
good comment,
How many does
texter
the
on
Curb
text
Event
line.
Center seat? 1,000 people?
More than that.
No.
I don't know how many. But
It's a few thousand people.
just because people don't necessarily want to listen to, and there may be some people that do, want to hear about Belmont St. Louis, doesn't mean that people don't care about college basketball.
Oh, my God. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
You can't
It's
get ratioed enough for this, Jared. You can't get ratioed enough for this. It's ridiculous. Thank you,
Joe-
Caroline, for fighting the good fight. I know you have to fight.
That's what I'm here for, Joe.
Joe.
I know you fight it on many fronts, but good job.
The basketball hour will be tomorrow. Joe Rexroad will break down Memphis, Belmont, Lipscomb, Austin P, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Vandy with women's team, Martin Methodist, and a high school of the week tomorrow on Robbie and Rexroad. Appreciate you, Joe.
Okay, you feel better? Thanks, guys.
No, I feel worse. Thank you, Joe. I feel worse because you sided with Joe. Dude, you know people in this town don't care about college basketball right now.
Well, you told me
it.
that I don't know anything about this town, so what am I to say?
I'm just saying for you to sit there and be like, I think people in Nashville care. I'm like...
But to say that nobody cares about college basketball isn't fair.
We've talked about this.
I don't necessarily care right now.
If we want, we can find somebody who doesn't like pizza. But we know
Are we back
that,
on this?
Yes.
Me saying that there are SEC fans that don't like Nick Saban, that's also not a hot take.
And what was the poll of your results on your poll?
I don't know what they were.
70-30.
But that doesn't mean that everybody loves Nick Saban.
But my point with the pizza is not everybody's going to love pizza. Most people love pizza. And I would say, if I were to walk around and say, everybody loves pizza, right? You would say, yes, everybody loves pizza. We know there's somebody out there who doesn't love pizza.
This isn't the same thing, Jared. You keep using this comparison, and it is not the same thing.
It is to this.
It's not.
We can find somebody that'll tell us that they like college basketball. But in the business that I'm in, which is talking about things that people care about,
So you saying that nobody likes college basketball or nobody cares about college basketball isn't correct because there are people out there that do. Is it the overwhelming majority? Probably not right now on December 8th.
Not enough people to pay the bills?
Probably not on December 8th. But saying that nobody cares is different than saying not the majority of our listeners, so we're going to steer away from it. That's the difference.
Okay, so if I said most of the people in Nashville don't care, then it's right. But because I say nobody cares...
Well, that's a difference.
No, you know what I mean when I say nobody cares. I literally started off the last segment saying, look, there's going to be somebody that says, I care. It's like that guy yesterday that tweeted me and said there's a market for NBA talk in Nashville.
No, there maybe there is.
This is
I don't
my
think
job.
that there is.
I do not walk into a furniture store and tell them what kind of beds sell because I don't know. This is the one thing in life that I know probably better than anybody else in Nashville. Fair?
Yes.
Okay. Like, come on now. 615-737-1025.
People don't like Nick Saban. I'll stand by that.
615-737-1025. I mean, look, other people think people care so much about UT basketball that they're hiring people that played UT basketball when they, just whatever. 615-737-1025 here on Stillman and Company. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. We will pick this up on the other side. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. I absolutely love my friends at Hiller. They do a fantastic job every time they come to my home. They're proud supporters of Vanderbilt. If you watch a Vanderbilt game, which I know a lot of people didn't, but it's right there on the bottom of the basket, right there on the Preds ice, and of course you could see it when you're watching a Vols game as well. Hiller is giving away cash for the holidays, and they're celebrating from now until the end of the year with special deals. Hiller wants to make sure every child experiences the joy of Christmas this year by donating $50 in toys for tots with every tankless water heater purchase and giving away a $250 Visa gift card with each unit. Get a $500 Visa gift card when you buy select new HVAC systems, or get a $500 Visa gift card with the purchase of any new whole home generator. More specials are online at happyhiller.com. As always, Happy You'll Be Here. The service is free. These deals are only available until the end of the year, so schedule today.
Backhander, and he scores! Nick Cousins and the Predators retake a 2-goal lead.
The Predators dominate Detroit to claim a second straight victory.
Really good for us. Really solid game. It's good to get off to a win on the road trip.
Your exclusive home of Smashville is
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This week in Vanderbilt history, November 27, 1982. Commodores 28, Tennessee 21. A game known as the Super Bowl of Tennessee and one of the most memorable wins in VU history. On a rainy day in Nashville, the lead went back and forth throughout the game, with neither of the old rivals able to go in front by more than 7. Vanderbilt's short passing game turned into a big play offense. Quarterback Whit Taylor throwing for a pair of 42-yard touchdowns, then finding Phil Roach on a 65-yard heave to set up the winning score. Taylor faked to Keith Edwards, and then scored on a 1-yard keeper around the right end. An iconic play still replayed to this day. 5th straight win for Vanderbilt, which improved to 8-3 on the season and finished SEC play at 4-2. Coach George McIntyre's Doors capped a terrific 82 season in the Hall of Fame Bowl in Birmingham. Commodores 28, Volunteers 21. November 27, 1982. That's This Week in Vanderbilt history. I'm Kevin Ingram.
This holiday season, head into Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest gifts from Titleist and Bushnell. Feel the difference with the Titleist T-Series irons. 4 models to give you maximum performance for any type of dedicated golfer. And don't miss these hot gifts from Bushnell, like the Tour V5 and the Tour V5 Shift with pin seeker technology, or the Wingman with Bluetooth and audible GPS for distance. Edwin Watts Golf Shops is home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, or shop us online for the holidays at worldwidegolfshops.com.
Christmas shopping is in full swing at Electronic Express. Save big on the hottest gifts with up to 50% off in every department. 4K TVs, computers and gaming, smart home, housewares, and more. That's not all. Get up to 50% off all your appliance needs in stock and ready to deliver. Plus, buy now, pay later with up to 36 months free financing. Get your Christmas shopping done now at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
It's the 12 days of Christmas at Genesis Diamonds with the best gift ever, 5 years, 0 interest financing. That's right. For the first 12 days of December, you get the unbeatable Genesis value price, plus 0 interest financing for 5 years with nothing down. So you can splurge on a new diamond. Why not upgrade her from a 1 carat to a 2 carat? With this offer, you can get a $12,000 designer engagement ring for just $200 a month. All Genesis GIA certified diamonds are included. So if you're celebrating a lifetime of love, or just starting out, you can get the ring of her dreams and spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest. Diamond earrings, diamond pendants, diamond bands, and bracelets are also included. But you need to shop early. This finance offer is going on now through December 12th only at Genesis Diamonds. Merry Christmas from Genesis Diamonds. Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit, see store for details.
Zines First is the official sign company for 102.5 The Game. Go to sfnash.com.
Hey, it's Jared Stillman. Guys, are you tired of feeling old? You know that feeling? You don't have any energy, you're gaining pounds. Well, guess what? My friends at Invigorate Health are the ones to help you. They don't just focus on one area of the aging body. They take care of all of it with so many different therapies that can restore your vitality and are designed with you specifically in mind. So give them a try. Invigorate Health, if you want to feel young again. Out in Mount Juliet at 615-288-4777 or invigoratehealthtn.com.
Touchdown, Boilermakers! Witness tomorrow's NFL stars this month at the TransPerfect Music City Bowl.
First down, handoff, tailback, right up the middle to the 30. He's out of here. 20, to the 10, crank up Rocky Top. Touchdown, right up the middle.
Don't miss a second as Tennessee and Purdue, two of college football's top programs, go head-to-head on Thursday, December 30th at 2 p.m. inside Nissan Stadium. For more information on this year's game, including ticket availability, visit MusicCityBowl.com. Presented by the Tennessee Lottery.
You may be into punk rock, soft rock, or classic rock, R&B, hip-hop, or house, country, techno, or techno-country. But no matter what kind of music you listen to, here's something else you should hear. Please consider getting vaccinated. Talk to your pharmacist today about Comirnaty, COVID-19 vaccine mRNA. This message brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Sunday afternoon, it's our NFL Game of the Week. Brought to you by Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue. Playoff hopefuls clash.
Burrow dives, touchdown!
When the Cincinnati Bengals host the 49ers.
Garoppolo throws, touchdown!
Coverage begins at 3
on ESPN
94.9.
Hey, this is Jordan Rogers, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Paul texts in, what hour is the college basketball breakdown happening so I can plan on listening to Christmas music for that hour? That's from Paul.
Well, thank you, Paul. I never said that I want to break down college basketball. I told you at the break, I don't want to do that. I have no interest in doing that. I have no interest in doing that even in March, talking X's and O's of college basketball. All I'm saying is that there is a market for college basketball. It may not be big right now, but people at least care or watch the games or go to the games.
I think podcast like that could be a market for it.
Great.
By the way,
you should start a college basketball podcast. You seem pretty passionate about it.
Yes. So, you know what's funny?
What's that?
Is I still can't believe that you gave Joe the victory based off his one Colts or his Patriots comment that the Patriots are as good as the Colts and the Bengals. Somebody texted me.
Well, you know exactly why I gave Joe the win. Because he knew it was going to bug you.
Oh, well.
It worked.
That's right. Hey,
victory for me.
I got the one win.
Belmont basketball.
We got the one win that mattered this week. over Joe and Robbie. Somebody texted me and said, Colts have the lowest strength of victory percentage at 33% of any team in the AFC.
I mean, I hear Joe. The Colts have been playing better as of late because they
been
realize
playing nobody who's good.
When you give the ball to your running back and he's insane.
No, they did not realize that. They lost to the Buccaneers because they stopped giving the ball to the running back.
Did they really? I didn't watch that.
Yes.
Game. Oh, I mean, you beat the Bills 1,000,000 and you didn't think, maybe it's because our running back scored 5 touchdowns.
I think that's because the Bills are starting to stink it up. I think that, again.
I don't know.
Joe
I'm not playing into that narrative of the Patriots are the best and the Bills suck.
I'm not playing that. I'm not doing that either. I'm telling you, when it comes to football, in a game, right now, the Ravens are screwing things up. The Colts are screwing things up. The Chargers are screwing things up. The Bengals are screwing things up. The Titans are screwing things up. Right now, the thing the Patriots don't do is they don't make the killer mistake. Mac Jones tried in the Titans game, but Dylan Cole didn't catch it. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't like it wasn't like New England really did anything special in that game 2 weeks ago. But if you're going to go down there, first of all, they're the classic Patriots playing the bend but don't break defense. And if you're going to miss field goals like the Titans did and like the Bills did, granted the win, but if you're going to miss field goals, you're not going to beat that team. And if you're 4th and goal at the 2 and you're running for 7 yards a crack and you try to throw some rollout to Cody Hollister and they've got J.C. Jackson and Devin McCourty, you're not going to win. So what they do is they let everybody else make their mistakes. And Baltimore's making them. Tennessee's making them. You know, I wonder here, like I think Buffalo, we talk about teams getting better throughout the course of the year. Buffalo, in my opinion, has clearly gotten worse. And it's not like the Titans where you can pinpoint it and say they had all these injuries. I wonder if Kansas City's getting better or if Kansas City's just taking care of business against the Broncos and the Raiders and kind of those teams that really aren't in the higher class of the AFC.
I do think that the Chiefs are getting better. And I do think that Patrick Mahomes has stopped making so many of those silly mistakes. Because the mistakes that he was making in the beginning of the season, last season or in 2019, would have been, you know, like SportsCenter top 10 passes from Patrick Mahomes. It just wasn't working earlier in the season. And I do think that they're starting to figure things out. There may be some truth to the fact that they're playing as difficult of opponents as of late, but I do think that the Chiefs are on the up and up. And I would agree with you that the Bills are going down.
I think there's maybe, like, I would be totally open to the idea that the Chiefs are figuring it out. But I'd also be open to the fact that, you know, when they were playing the Titans and when they were playing some of these better teams, you know, they really weren't looking very good. The other side, though, is with the Patriots, I'm not saying the Patriots are running away with this conference. I'm just saying they're not the Bengals. Like that, when you're talking about...
When Joe said, well, I'm not saying they're in a league of their own, I don't think anyone's saying that. At least you and I didn't say that. No. We both said that there is a top tier of contenders in the AFC right now, and the Patriots are one of them.
We did not accept that whole, like, the Titans are injured, so how can they go to Foxborough? I'm like, no, get lined up on a punt. Make your extra point.
Hold on to the football.
Go for it and go for it. Not the stupid rollout, you know, to Cody Hollister. Like, go for it. Like, I mean, the Titans lost that game. It wasn't so much that, I mean, maybe Derrick Henry is like the magic eraser. And if he's out there, he makes up for everybody's mistakes, like the Bills game where Derrick carried the entire team. But, I mean, again, the Patriots just wait for you to make your mistakes. And ultimately, I do think that'll catch up. I would not put the Patriots down as the team that I think is going to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. But I could see it.
The only thing that I really feel confident about saying right now about the Patriots is that I feel confident that they're going to get the top seed. Now, anything can happen in the next 5 weeks, but where it stands right now, I feel pretty confident about that.
Go to theGameNashville.com/deals to check out Nashville's best deals. The deal of this week is a half-off $30 gift card to Seafood Sensation. Seafood Sensation is Nashville's original seafood restaurant. 10 years in running, they are located at 2719 Jefferson Street, Unit E. Stop by to enjoy some of your favorite seafood dishes like their crab leg platter, grilled salmon, and more. Get your deal now at theGameNashville.com/deals and check out the Game of the Week this weekend on ESPN 94.9, brought to you by Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue. The Game of the Week on ESPN 94.9 Sunday, the San Francisco 49ers and the Cincinnati Bengals with a 3:25 kickoff. Carolines is next. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Mainly clear skies heading into the overnight. Temperatures around the freezing mark for early Thursday morning. Warming to the low 60s with sunshine for Thursday. Gearing up for thunderstorms, some severe Friday night into Saturday. I'm Fox 17 Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
It's the end of the year blowout sale at Social Furniture. Save up to 70% off Ashley Furniture. Social Furniture has truckloads of the best selection of furniture. Get your nightstands, mattresses, bar stools, sofas, and recliners. All on sale now. Come first for the best selection of furniture before it's gone. And you don't want to miss out. Visit Social Furniture on the west side at 5412 Charlotte Avenue. On the web at mysocialfurniture.com. Social Furniture is a proud supporter of your Nashville Predators.
WWE returns to Nashville with Friday Night SmackDown, January 21st at Bridgestone Arena. You'll see Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura with Rick Boogs as he battles Universal Champion Roman Reigns.
What's off with the fists?
Then Sasha Banks challenges Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's Championship, plus much more. Tickets start at $20. Available 10 a.m. this Friday at Ticketmaster. Ringsider packages available.
Mortgage rates are on the move, but you can still lower your house payment with my friends at Loan Pronto. Willie here. Call Loan Pronto now and take advantage of their super popular zero-cost refi program. So many people are doing this before the year ends. You can refi now. Get a rate with an APR in the low 2s with no junk fees and no closing costs, even if you refinanced 6 months ago. Loan Pronto's all-digital process is fast and easy, virtually no paperwork required, and most loans get closed in 14 days. And if you act right now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. So call Loan Pronto now. Rates are still really low. If you're currently in the APR range of over 2.75, call now. You got nothing to lose. See how much you can save by going into the new year. Lower that house payment. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans eligible. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Hey, it's Jared. Your body needs water. That doesn't mean it has to be boring. And I'm here to tell you to give Focus a try. Focus is a sparkling water with a spark. It's infused with a boost of natural tea caffeine, so you get clean energy without sugar, calories, or crash. Go to drinkfocus.com to find the full lineup of flavors and get them delivered right to your door. Enter promo code GAME at checkout for 15% off your first order. Focus is also available at your local Publix. That's Focus, P-H-O-C-U-S, on the web at drinkfocus.com.
Zines First is the official sign company for 102.5 The Game. Go to sfnash.com.
Closer, bolder, golden. Nashville SC Stadium is arriving in 2022, and season tickets are on sale now. With just 150 feet between the pitch and the last row, you'll be right there in the action no matter where you sit. If you thought soccer in Nashville was a party already, you ain't seen nothing yet. So come on in, grab a seat, and stay a while as we open a new era of Nashville sports. For more information on season tickets at the new Nashville SC Stadium, visit nashvillesc.com/22tix.
From city streets to back roads, from road warrior to carpooler, there are some things you can always count on, like the reliability, durability, and power of Die Hard, America's most trusted auto battery. No matter where your journey takes you, count on Die Hard to get you started on the road ahead. Available at your local Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest stores.
Darren McFarland.
That should get you in the mood for a game tonight.
Willie Donick.
I think between 5.5 and 6 is probably in the ballpark.
Chase McCabe.
Typically, I like to take the most difficult task and do it first.
Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Curacion CBD on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
So I alluded to this earlier today in the show. I had somebody tweet me yesterday and say, if you guys talked NBA, there is a market for NBA talk here in Nashville. And even though I feel like I have a pretty good idea of it, and most of the data would back that up, I'm going to give that guy what he wants. Right now, for one time, at least for today, in Carolina.
Woohoo!
Get in on the action. Put the money on the mahogany. What's on tap on the sports books? It's time to break it all down with Caroline's. Here on Stillman and Company.
On ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Memphis Grizzlies fans, you're in for a treat. The Mavs on the road at Memphis. Give me the Grizz -2. So Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis, easily Dallas' 2 best players, have both been in and out of the lineup recently, kind of been riddled with injuries. The Mavs have won just 2 of their last 10. On the other side, the Grizz are on a 5-game win streak, and fun stat, throughout that 5-game win streak, they have not trailed once. John Morant is out with a knee injury, and he will be out tonight as well. But I'm going to take the hot team. Give me the Grizz -2, -132.
I'm going to take the Grizz because I think that Dallas stinks. They're 11-12 this season. Memphis, meanwhile, 14-10. And Luka Doncic getting kind of chubby. I saw today that they said that his weight has now become an issue. Didn't they sign him to that Supermax contract?
I believe they did.
So now he's starting to get a little fat and happy when you sign those contracts, young kids.
For a show that claims that we don't talk NBA, we have talked an awful lot about NBA players' physique today.
Yeah, we've talked about 2 fat players in 2 segments we've had. I'll take the Grizzlies tonight as well. That's going to do it for us. We're out of here. Smashville Live. Jordan Tutu will join Chase. That's coming up next. Stillman and Company. We will